Hey there, fools, and welcome to another episode of Tea Talk. Long awaited. Obviously, I don't do these that many that often. So, uh, welcome back. I have my illustrious panel here. Let's go ahead and introduce ourselves, starting on my left, and I have Jay.
Hey, what's up, people? Jay from the Game Cafe.
All right, and next to him is Rob of Rule Two.
What's up, guys? Rob of Rule 2 Review. Stoked to do another Tea Talk with three of my favorite peeps.
Sweet. And Terminator Juice.
What's up, Terminator Juice? Let's get this thing rolling because I had a late night last night, so I'm
Too many martinis.
tired. Buying amiibos and Mario Maker after midnight, so
You sound super tired, man.
yeah.
All right, and we will have a Q&A. Hopefully we can get to it without going into Saturday. As everybody knows, this is September 11th, so I would like to acknowledge that by giving a moment of silence for the families affected, and just to pay some respects, and we'll do that right now. All right, thank you guys for bearing with me, and let's go ahead and get on into the topics here. Obviously, you know what the name of the title is, and we'll be leading up to that with the topics that I have here. And let's go ahead and get started. So, first question I have, I kind of came up with my own questions based on some thoughts I've been having about the the Wii U, the Wii, where Nintendo's going and stuff. So, my first question to you guys is, do some gamers use sales figures to validate their purchases? And are sales figures a good indicator of quality of a product? So let's go ahead and I'm going to hand that over to Jay to start. What do you think, Jay?
I think gamers nowadays they don't. I don't think they use sales figures like that. I think they use sales figures to brag.
Hmm.
In all honesty, I think they use them to brag. Are they a good indicator of quality? Not really. There's a couple of games that I straight up enjoy that didn't sell well, but because of media or reviews or dare I say other gamers that didn't too much like it but have a bigger voice,
Right.
they didn't sell well. So I think like when it comes down to sales figures, I think basically what happens is you have people who use that to brag that they're part of the clique, so to speak, of gamers that like this particular type of game.
Right.
I mean, we hear it all the time with the Call of Duty guys and the Assassin's Creed guys. I mean, seriously.
Yeah. All right, cool. What do you think, Rob?
Yeah, I think it's like there's kind of two questions there.
Yeah.
Because, the first question is, do people use sales to validate their purchase? And absolutely they do. A lot of people do. And even some of us might have been guilty of it in the past. I've certainly probably done it unconsciously a couple of times. It's kind of like worse now than it's ever been, maybe with the age of the internet, or I don't know. But it's definitely something that I think people definitely use to say, obviously the machine that I bought is really great because so many other people bought it.
Right.
And so yeah, people do that. It's kind of like bragging, like you said, Jay. It's honestly almost kind of the same thing, really. And it's probably not the smartest approach, but sometimes it probably has merit. Other times it maybe doesn't. The other real question is if the sales are like indicative of the quality, right? Was that the other question?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of harder to answer because that could really go almost either way. I think that it's fair to say that a really good product would hopefully be known as a good product, therefore more people want to buy it. And I think that a lot of times in gaming that has been the case, but there's been so many times where the opposite has been true. Like, for me, I go to the Nintendo 64, which is my favorite console of all time, which wasn't like a flop by any stretch, but compared to like its direct competition, which was the first PlayStation, like it got trounced. It wasn't probably as big of a seller as it should have been and Nintendo would have wanted it to be. And then there's the really obvious like current scenario where the PlayStation 4 is like breaking records and doing awesome. And although I do enjoy my PlayStation 4, I also recognize it's probably has the least value of the three current consoles, and it's selling so much better. But then, you know, Wii U being my personal favorite machine with, I think, the best games, also selling, like, kind of atrociously bad.
Right.
So that's where, like, the sales and the quality maybe don't match up. So it can really kind of go either way, I guess.
Cool. Yeah, I want to touch on it before I move it to Terminator Juice. You specifically talked about the N64 and the PlayStation sales, and N64 is also my favorite console of all time.
Yeah, but
And the thing, I've probably been guilty of saying it myself that that N64 didn't sell well, but honestly, the fall off as far as the install base from Super Nintendo to N64 wasn't really that bad. We're talking like what, 8, maybe 9 million.
that's
different?
almost what was the 60? Was the 64 in the 40s or the 60 millions, or do you remember what it is?
64 was, I want to say, 33 million.
Oh, even less than I thought. Wow.
Yeah,
But
and
that was a different time in gaming,
right.
too.
But the thing is, Super Nintendo was what,
40
49? Or maybe it was mid 40s.
Okay.
So if you look at it from, you know, console to Nintendo console to Nintendo console, it didn't fall off that much. And the thing is, the PlayStation was a, you know, it was a, what do you call it? It was basically a phenomenon. Like, it was a runaway.
It was like a
success.
Trojan horse, man. It was a bigger hit than anyone probably expected.
It opened up the market
Mhm.
bigger than it had ever been before. So comparatively, yeah, it sold more, but I don't think, you know, I don't think that means that N64 was, you know, a failure or didn't sell that well. I think it sold pretty well for what it was, especially.
Yeah, it's so well. I don't think it was ever really looked at as a quote unquote failure, but I think that, you know, like if you compare the numbers, right?
Yeah, I mean,
that's
you
when it's like,
compare
oh,
numbers to
PlayStation
numbers.
did so much better, and so there's that kind of approach.
Yeah. There was a term I was trying to look for there with, as far as
For the PlayStation?
mainstream. It was a mainstream.
Oh,
It broke into the mainstream where gaming hadn't been before, kind of like what the Wii did. And I think, you know, that's why the difference in sales from PlayStation to N64 are so huge. Again, like I said, and you got to add in the fact that PlayStation did sell, and it was new competition for Nintendo. So
It
and
was.
obviously
And
it was
like
very
directed
good
at a new
competition.
market too.
Right. It was very good competition. So it definitely was going to take away from N64's install base anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's off on a tangent. Go ahead, Juice. What do you think about the sales figures thing and indicators?
Yeah, it's hard for me to put myself in the shoes of somebody that does care enough about sales to like have it validate their purchase. I've seen people behaving in a way that maybe suggests that, but I can't think of like an exact example of a person validating their purchase by sales, but I can honestly, there's dozens of instances where someone validates their non-purchase based on low sales. I've seen a lot this generation with the Wii U. People pointing to the low sales that almost as there's them saying, you know, they're glad they didn't get a Wii U because of the low sales, and because the effect of the low sales was, you know, third-party support dropping off and stuff. So I think less about people using big sales to justify the purchase. I've seen more people using the low sales of the Wii U to justify them not buying one, and it's almost like a dominoes effect, like people getting that mindset, well, this thing's not selling, so why should I buy one? It's not getting support, and then, you know, less people buy it, and it's just this cycle that never ends, you know, and the Wii U has just been stuck in that cycle for a long time. So I think I see more of that than people saying, oh, the PlayStation 4 is at 25, you know, validated, you know, like I just think it does probably help people in the sense that when they don't have like any good exclusives or any like major exclusives for, you know, months at a time, even though the Wii U is similar, but the PlayStation 4, other than some remasters, it's had a couple. It's had 2 exclusives. Oh wait, Until Dawn makes 3. So I think in a way, like, people can still feel okay about the purchase because they know the thing's selling well and the future is looking bright, even though maybe they don't have like a game like Halo 5 or anything coming this holiday. I think they can. I think I'm just guessing. I've never heard anybody actually say anything like this, but I guess maybe someone could feel better about their purchase knowing the sales numbers are pointing to a long life cycle for the PS4. So I guess in that regard, maybe it would help them feel validated. As far as sales equal to quality, there's something to be said about a product that sells well. If it was a piece like broken and didn't work, something's not going to sell. It might have initial sales, but I don't think, like, if the PS4 was riddled with problems, operating system errors, and hardware problems, I don't think it would be even, a third of what it's at right now. So the fact that it's popular and it generally is well received has led to the sales, keep going up and up. If the thing was broken and just a bad piece of hardware, I don't think it would have sold. But the sales don't tell you the whole story. They don't just say, okay, this thing's quality because it sold 25 million. But if it was just a ill-conceived piece of hardware, I don't, that word would have spread and it definitely wouldn't have sold nearly as well. So I guess it's got to be at least something decent to have such big numbers, but it doesn't guarantee quality. And then on the opposite, low sales definitely don't suggest low quality. It can in some situations, but the Vita seems to be a pretty piece of good tech. Didn't sell well. The Wii U, my favorite Nintendo console of all time,
blasphemy,
hasn't sold well. So,
almost.
So it's just one of those things that you could make a point on either side of the argument. It'd be a good debatable topic because I think there's arguments on both sides. So
it's almost like it would never have an end to the debate,
Yeah, because there's so many examples of things selling really well that maybe are just okay, and then there's a ton of examples of like amazing things not selling well, as far as games, hardware, any electronics and stuff. There's all kinds of really like diamonds in the rough that no one bought, but there's like these awesome things over the years.
Like the Wonderful 101. That's a good example.
Yep, and just in any type of electronics, there's always like something that gets kind of what's the word? Just for whatever reason it bombs, it tanks, people don't buy it. Doesn't necessarily relate to the quality.
Yeah. I mean, Platinum Games as a studio is a testament to that.
Mm-hmm.
They have a very interesting track record.
Oh, man. It just doesn't make sense to me. They keep.
I mean, you look at the Xbox 360 with the Red Ring of Death, that thing was still selling well, and there, had all those issues. So, it's like I said, you can make pretty much an argument on both sides.
Yeah.
It happens even with like movies. Think of great movies that don't really do
Oh,
that.
yeah, like Edge of Tomorrow.
Yes.
Versus Transformers 4.
Transformers is a big brand name, and Edge of Tomorrow is kind of a new thing.
Still, the quality of the filmmaking and the movie is not even close to comparison.
Plus, the word of mouth was so good. You'd think that would have helped.
I was surprised. Like in the U.S., it only did 100 million total.
Yeah, like 109 or something. Like
yeah,
really
that's
small.
Worldwide. It did like 300 or did all right.
I know it's not a movies podcast, but Tom Cruise does have an idea for a sequel. Just saying.
Oh yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
Yeah, could happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, just for me to chime in on that, sales figures validating some people feel that way. And like you said, I think Terminator Juice said, if your console is lacking in other ways, you'll find that one thing it beats everybody else in. So that's what you can chime about and talk about, which that's fine. But as far as like sales figures, I think we kind of just went over that being a good indicator. Obviously, it's not. It can be at times Um, I found myself at least once or twice caught up in the hype, if you will, of something selling really well, and me going out and getting it, and not being as hype after I bought it, or as everybody else seemed to be.
Consumer
But
savvy.
exactly. So yeah, I mean, it's subjective, as most things are. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the next one. I'm gonna make you guys think on this one, I hope.
I was not prepared for that.
The question is a hypothetical. What if the Wii actually failed last gen? What do you think the ramifications would be for Nintendo? What do you think people would have said were the reasons it failed? Mm-hmm. All right. So go ahead, Jay. Chime in on that.
If it failed, it probably would have been more along the lines of they should have put out a beefed up system. They shouldn't have. They should have went with what's the word? Normal control scheme.
A normal controller.
Yeah. But yeah, it would probably have been that. And I can't even believe I'm going to say this guy's name. There'd probably be chiming like Adam Sessler was chiming like a few years back, saying that it was because of the motion control, which that was still trying to be said anyway. But that's probably what would have wound up happening. They shouldn't have made a standard console. They should have made it for the hardcore, not for the casuals.
They made a standard console.
Yeah.
Standard def.
Standard def, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you can go on and on with like the plethora of excuses that would have came up.
So what do you think would have been the ramifications for Nintendo as far as what the Wii U would have been, including the name even?
Oh, they would have changed the name.
They would change the name. You
Yeah,
think?
they would have changed the name. They wouldn't. It wouldn't have been. The reason why they went with Wii U was because the Wii brand sold so well.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't from a business standpoint. I don't see the reason why they would have changed it. I know some people like they should have changed the name, but I'm like, no, you wouldn't change it if you sold good under that brand. I'm sorry, business wise, you just wouldn't have did that. So yeah, they would have had to change the name.
Yeah,
that would have been first, and they probably would have found a way to rebrand and market what they were doing. Even though the marketing was actually pretty good for Wii.
right. Okay. So everybody else can answer this or the same way in a different. They can answer the same way, but in a different way, because that's pretty much I think what everybody's going to do. Mm-hmm. But there's a reason for all this. But so go ahead, Rob, chime in on that.
Yeah, so yeah, definitely a really difficult question, like we said in the beginning. So of the two, what was the first part of the question exactly?
First part was, what if the Wii failed commercially last gen?
Okay,
what would be the ramifications for Nintendo?
Yeah. So it's tough because like when you look at what the Wii was and what it was for Nintendo and what it was just like straight up for gaming, it was like a pretty big shifting point. And so, like, a kind of a lot really hinges on that question, sort of even for the other companies in a way. But, like, for Nintendo directly, when I think about if the system would have failed, it really would have... It's tough. You have to think about the position Nintendo was in when they released the Wii, coming off of the GameCube, which is potentially my second favorite Nintendo system of all time. Maybe. I'm not quite sure, but it's up there. An amazing system that almost... everyone universally loved, but we know really didn't sell super well. It was almost a complete bomb. It did okay, but it wasn't doing that hot. So Nintendo was kind of in a position where you could have maybe had a more serious conversation at that time about would Nintendo ever stop making hardware? Would they ever become just a portable device manufacturer? Would they actually go third party? Some people may not remember or even be old enough to know that conversation kind of goes back that far a little bit. And coming off the GameCube, again, a great system that didn't sell very well, it's like, dude, like if Nintendo's next system isn't really successful, what if that would have been the nail in the coffin? And I think there is, 3 strikes, dude. Like it's entirely possible that could have happened, which is really scary to think about, And part of the whole question I know is maybe what would have been the reason it would have failed, and obviously that's kind of a loaded question too. I
Well,
mean,
what do you think people would have been? Basically, what do you think people would have said were the reasons?
okay, like how people would have like blamed it.
Right.
Or, well, I think that they would have said, the first part is definitely what Jay said, is like the controls, the motion control thing, because that was so freakishly new and weird until we all started using that controller. It was like, I think it's going to be awesome, but it kind of freaks me out. So I don't know. I'll wait till I try it. That's the way it was.
Right.
So obviously the motion control thing could have gone either way. That would have been a huge reason people would have blamed. And then the other huge one, which Jay, you kind of also said too, would have been the graphics. And I don't know which one of those two elements people would have weighed more on, but I will pose this question to you guys, is to be fair, if the system did fail, I would almost agree that it would have been one or both of those things, if in fact it didn't catch on. That's kind of like a little rope-a-dope to the question, and even though I didn't mind the graphics and I love the Wii Remote to death, if it had failed, I think it would actually be fair to say those things did turn enough people off to make it not successful. That's kind of my whole approach. But going back to the first part of what it would have meant for Nintendo is, I mean, I don't know if it really would have been the nail in the coffin, but damn, they would be hanging on by such a thread, and it would be a really scary world for Nintendo if that system didn't do what it did. And I don't know how it would have affected what kind of machine we're playing on now. Because they might not have had enough money to make a machine even as capable as the Wii U is, and we know that it's, doesn't really meet the standards of the other two consoles in terms of like power under the hood. And they might have had more of a struggle making it even do what the Wii U does if they didn't make so much stinking money off of the Wii.
Right.
Or maybe they would have just abandoned like a home console for a really, really long time just to really focus on the DS, which was doing gangbusters at that time. So that was like the other thing they had going for themselves. They would have had to probably totally rely on a portable market in a whole new way to hopefully recoup enough money from like the failed Wii to make another console. But it's really hard to predict, and it's kind of freaky. But that's kind of the angles that I see it from, if that makes sense.
Yes. Cool. And what do you think, Terminator?
I think it potentially could have been their last home console if the Wii failed.
Wow.
I mean, they might have tried again, but I think they would have focused more on the handheld and maybe put a little more emphasis on that. But we don't know. They might have tried again, and they might have done something instead of the gamepad. They probably would have just gone to a standard system and tried to compete. Probably would have happened about 2 years sooner. They probably would have immediately shifted to trying to get up to speed with the Xbox 360 and PS3. So we probably had basically similar specs to the Wii U, but I don't think the gamepad would have taken a chance on that at all. Obviously, they wouldn't have kept the Wii name, and who knows, the Wii U might have been the big popular console. But we don't know, and obviously the reasons people would have said underpowered, and the controller's gimmick, and lack of third-party support, because it would have died off immediately if the Wii hadn't sold so well because of the drop-off in visuals and power to the 360. Like, there's no way Activision would have wasted their time porting. So it would have had this. Basically, it would have been what the Wii U is. We had third-party die-off after 2 years, and then people talking about the next system within the first 3 years. So basically, where we're at right now, I think we would be if the Wii U or if the Wii hadn't done well.
Yeah. I said wow because I actually agree. I think when you said about they might not even be making consoles right now, because obviously the N64 was a down. Like I said earlier, it was a drop off from Super Nintendo as far as install base, and then GameCube was an even bigger drop off from N64, and if the Wii would have been around there
Somehow
or
done less than the GameCube.
Boy.
Oh my god, yeah. It would
have been it would have been over pretty much, because the Wii and basically the DS era was Nintendo's most profitable in their history, and it afforded them to be able to have that solvency as a company that they have right now, and they can take this failure.
Risks, you know.
Yeah, they can take risks and stuff. But yeah, I mainly asked that question because I think it's weird and kind of funny that its failures and its successes have the same answer. Like as far as like people saying it was successful because of the gimmick, basically the controller. It was successful because it was cheap. It was successful, because it wasn't an HD console and it was, easier and quicker to make games for.
Yeah, made it cheaper to sell.
Right, and on the flip side, people see those as negatives. It's like you got to give a
Damn
controller.
it, you always got to plan with your questions. You're like Palpatine.
Yeah,
You're
that's
putting
why
it all together. It's crazy.
I just found that odd because it's one of the. I guess for me, it's like the enigma as far as in gaming. That's the case for Nintendo. Is that?
Yeah, Nintendo's one of the few companies that can really even ever put themselves in that exact position.
Right.
The thing that made the Wii as a success is the thing that we would think people would blame its failures on.
Right. And
they really hinged everything on those things.
Yeah, and even though it did, even though it was the quote unquote market leader, and I say quote unquote because a lot of people feel like it sold more, but it was because of gimmicks, or it wasn't because it was a gamer's console. So even when the Nintendo console did win, it still kind of didn't in a lot of gamers' eyes. So yeah,
can I ask you guys a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I'm curious what you guys would think. Let's say that the Wii was like a massive failure. But let's say they didn't actually like stop making consoles or go third party or any of that stuff. If they made another console like a direct successor to the failed Wii, what do you guys think they would have? I don't think you were going to bring this up to you. I don't remember you going over this, so I'm curious what you guys think maybe they would have done. Would they have like made another Risk with a low-powered system, or would they have taken out like 6 loans and try to just make a really beefy console to do the exact opposite? Or what do you guys think they would have done?
I already kind of said that. I think.
Yeah.
I think we would have got the next console in 2010 or 11, and it would have been on par with 360 and PS3, trying to compete with the last 3 years of those consoles' lifespan. I think that's what they would have done, with a standard controller. I think they really would have. I don't think they would have took the chance of motion controls or the screen and the controller. I don't think they would have, and it would have been too early to even make that affordable. So I think we would have just had basically another GameCube, just a little bit more.
Gone back to something more standard, kind of.
Yeah.
A little more appealing. They wouldn't. I don't think they would have had a purple box with a handle. It would have been pretty boring. I think they would have either done just a boring thing, or they really would have just swung for the fences on possibly their last console. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, the DS was so lucrative for them, you had games on a handheld. I don't think that ever happened before, that was selling in tens of millions of copies. I mean, almost just as good as the Wii was selling.
I bet the DS's success led to the Wii U's design with the second screen.
It seems like pretty logical that they sort of tried to make that connection. And they may even, according to some rumors, which I know we'll get in, they may be trying still kind of something like that again.
Yeah. I think we're trying to kind of make the ultimate appeal console, I think. They made it powerful enough, a little bit more powerful than the current gen. And then they were trying to... No, I'm talking about the Wii U.
Oh, okay.
They did that, and then they added the dual screen effect, if you will, of the DS, and then they gave you the Wii controls. So it seems like they were trying to merge all that together, and obviously it didn't work out commercially for them. But that'll lead into this next question, and it's, what if the Wii U was a commercial success? What do you think people would have said were the reasons for its success? Aha. I'm sorry. Should I pick somebody? Go ahead, Terminator. Go ahead. You can answer that.
It's hard to try to think of what I mean, the exact same system, but it just for
Yeah,
whatever reason caught
no,
on.
no
People bought it.
things. Yeah, nothing.
No
No
differences?
hypothetical. Exactly. No hypothetical reasons or differences like more third
Hmm.
party. None of that stuff.
Wow.
Wii
It,
U as we have it right now.
I
Damn.
bet.
If it was a commercial success, I'm trying to twist the brains up in
Yeah, I
here.
know you're going all Palpatine on us. I know.
I'm thinking people would have said the great lineup of games,
Mhm.
um, and the user or the ease of navigating with the touchscreen, as far as the apps, Internet Explorer, the Miiverse. The Miiverse would have been definitely credited
Yeah.
for
Hey,
its
I
success.
should have prefaced this, and I'm not talking like it's sold 30 million right now. I'm talking like 16, 17 even right
Like on
now.
par with maybe Xbox One or
Right.
so. Okay. So
Um,
not does that also mean leading the generation, or does that not a factor?
I don't know. It doesn't have to be leading. I think as long as it's
Not considered a failure.
right, as long as it's on par. Let's say it's somewhere in between PS4 and Xbox One as far as sales per month of the hardware.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um,
well, you gotta. We're all sports fans here, so you know what happens when someone tries a trick play or a risky play and the game's on the line.
mhm.
If they succeed, guess what? Coach of the year. If it doesn't, if it fails,
Then you're
uh,
John Fox.
they should be fired. Um, so it's always the result dictates, but they'll give credit for the same reason they'll want somebody fired. So I think it's the same thing. All the people talking about the gamepad and the touchscreen and off TV play, like Miiverse. I think all those things would have been credited as to why
Mm.
the thing was selling.
I think you know me too well because that's what. Go ahead, Rob. What do you think?
Yeah, I kind of have two answers because I think that there is two different scenarios you could look at the whole idea of a successful Wii U from, but going specifically from your perspective, T, like your scenario,
Hmm.
I pretty much agree almost entirely with Terminator, and I really like the analogy you made at the end, Terminator. Like that sports analogy actually is perfect.
Think of the
It's
Super
perfect.
Bowl. Or what was everybody saying at that last play? They should have ran Marshawn Lynch instead of throwing a pass.
Yeah.
All right.
But if that pass had been complete for a touchdown, they would have said, "Oh, what a brilliant play call."
Mm.
Yeah, whether it was a pass or a run, whether it was a touchdown for the win or a loss, it would have been either a hero or you're like the
Right,
worst
because
ever.
people would have been like, "Oh, they would have been expecting a run, so the pass was
Hmm.
brilliant."
Exactly.
Yeah, it's crazy. So it's like a really perfect analogy, and it applies here. But
Hmm.
again, to your scenario where we have no differences in the Wii U
Right.
today, I pretty much agree with Terminator. I think it would have been just the games, honestly. Like, and I want to say that the controller and the gamepad would be part of that as well. Like, why people would say the Wii U was
Yeah.
being
This is not
successful.
what you would think, but what do you think people would say?
Exactly.
Right.
Because, like, yeah, you've heard me say it a million times. Like, I freaking love the gamepad, even
Right.
as is. Now, there's so many different scenarios because I like to think, okay, if it was successful, we might have better uses of the gamepad today than we have had.
That's
But
true.
we're not doing that. We're not doing that. We're doing the T version. So no changes. Every gamepad game up to this date released how it is. So I love the gamepad, but I don't know that a lot of people would be saying the gamepad was part of it. I think that it would really just be the games because
Mhm.
obviously, even with the poor sales, we know that the Wii U has like by far the best exclusive library. My Wii U library trumps my Xbox One and my PS4. It is literally more than the two combined. And that is, I think, why a lot of people would say, "Oh yeah, of course I bought a Wii U because I've got Mario 3D World and I have Bayonetta 2 and I have Smash Brothers and I have Mario Kart and I have Wonderful 101." Hopefully that game would have sold more. And
Right.
people would use that and the fact that Nintendo's just a great company that makes great first-party stuff. It would kind of be the only thing I think people would really have to go on, to tell you the
Hmm.
truth. So
Hmm. And yeah,
that's my opinion.
obviously, if it did better as far as the console numbers, the third parties most likely we'd have more.
I think we'd
So
have a really different Wii U nowadays,
right,
honestly, if it was successful.
right,
But
right.
that's
It'd be
okay.
hard to
So
ignore that
We would have
install.
got Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. We'd be getting Black Ops 3,
Hmm.
yeah,
Destiny
maybe games like
potentially.
Destiny or Grand Theft Auto 5, stuff like that.
Star Wars. Yeah.
Star Wars, yeah. All these things could be possible. Mortal Kombat, if we had a consistently very successful Wii U. But that,
What do you mean, man? Mortal Kombat's a next gen
They
game.
didn't. They canceled the 7th gen versions, right?
Yeah, because
of Mortal Kombat, yeah. Mhm,
yeah.
yeah. But what happens, and again, T, forgive me because I know we're not supposed to discuss this
No, go
branching
ahead.
path
Go
of
ahead.
Wii U's life.
Run with it.
But what I think would hopefully happen, and I've talked about this with a lot of things, even like my hype for Fallout and how I wish it was on the Wii U, is like, okay, the Wii U is doing really well. People are responding to it. Third-party games maybe are really selling pretty well in the Wii U. What I would think would happen is developers would say, okay, we're making Mortal Kombat 10, we're making Mortal Kombat X, we got a PS4 version, we have an Xbox One version. We have the Wii U that can't quite do some of the same things, a lot of the same visuals, it just can't do a lot of those things. But man, we know that we can still sell a lot of copies to that audience and make our money back and make a profit. So it then becomes worth it for like that company for like Warner Brothers to say, well, we still have to put resources into making a Wii U specific version the best that can be because we know we'll still make money back. The reason we haven't seen third parties is because they know it's a poor investment. But if the Wii U is doing well, it's not a poor investment anymore, so they are willing to make like a Wii U specific version, hopefully, like how Watch Dogs could have turned out if they didn't half-ass it. And so if that makes sense. That's kind of my theory and what I would hope it could have been.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Mortal Kombat X, to me, it didn't even look like PS4. I thought it was available on the 360 the first time I saw it. I thought it was the 360.
I totally agree, dude. In my recent Mortal Kombat video, I kind of said the same thing because they said they just canceled the last-gen versions, and I was like, honestly, like, why would they do that? Because as good as I think Mortal Kombat X is, I don't think it looks impossible to do on the last-gen consoles. It looks the same as Mortal Kombat 9. You know?
Yeah, I just think they did it because they didn't think it was worth it at this point.
Yeah.
Because they didn't see, and I mean worth it. I mean financially worth it. I think they feel like most of the the drive and the movement in the game industry right now is on the current gen consoles.
Well, a third of the PS3 install base owns a PS4. I mean, it's already that high, which is
right.
amazing to think about.
That's pretty impressive.
Right. So
and then it's been successful with just those two versions already. So
yeah. All right, so Jay, follow that up with something completely original.
Be different. Ready, go.
Well, it would be the games. It would be the games. That's without a doubt. It would be the games. But I'm gonna say it would actually be the gamepad. Because if you have, it would be if it was doing well, it would be the gamepad because of things like off TV play and all of that stuff that they were actually touting when at its inception back in 2011.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a lot of people in relationships that game, and half of them don't want to watch Real Housewives of bullshit.
Mm. Some of y'all just don't understand that, but that's some real stuff right there.
Dude, every Sunday.
I have a Real Housewives beach towel in my room right now.
So I mean, when you think about it like that, I mean, yeah, it would be because most of, and I put it to like this: most of the people that I know that have like Wii U's, they love off TV play.
Mm-hmm.
They live for it.
I love it.
So that's why I think like it will probably wind up being the gamepad would be the reason why, because more people will take the time to play with it if you will and use those features that they have on it. So I think it would be the gamepad.
Yeah.
So and does that include would Nintendo TV still be around maybe, because that could have really taken off,
I think Nintendo TV probably would have took off if it was successful, obviously.
Football season? Yes, it would.
Exactly. That was such a cool promise.
It would.
It was awesome. It was awesome. But yeah, I mean,
see, you make a good point because you're like the ideal household for that stuff, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I am. I have a wife and 2 kids, and we share a TV in the living room. And obviously, I have 3 TVs in my house, so I can go to another room. But when you're in your family, you don't want to be a hermit and run away to your little office and play your game. You got to
move your TV, your Wii U around too.
I have to move my Wii U around.
Unless you're forced to watch Love and Hip Hop, then you.
Oh my goodness. Oh man. But yeah, I mean I brought up this because I'll just answer it. I think you guys pretty much hit it. I think if the Wii U was successful, people would be saying that it's the gimmicky controller. People love their iPads and people love their iPhones, and of course that everybody was going to gravitate to that controller because everybody uses touchscreens. And the reason I brought that up is because that's what Nintendo thought, and that to anybody makes a lot of sense. Like, they thought that would catch on with everybody, and it's just I brought it up because I feel like there's this hindsight, this 2020 hindsight, where people are like, of course that wasn't going to take off. It's a gimmick, blah blah blah. But
yeah, of course the result was the result that it is.
exactly.
Kind of thing.
You know, it's just, I just find it weird and kind of funny that you know, when stuff turns out a certain way, people react, and their reasons are the exact same reason for something failing is the exact same reason for something being successful. I just, you know, I'm just being a critical thinker. I just find that stuff kind of weird and funny.
It's totally true, and you even make good points about probably why, at the end of the day, people would maybe gravitate more towards the gamepad, because I mean the exact reason that Nintendo made the gamepad is pretty much what you're saying is, oh, like, we're becoming a touchscreen mobile tablet device society. Why wouldn't we want this in our games? Well, here's this system that is built around that.
And that's not a bad thought. I mean, that's a smart.
It's totally true. Well, we all love the gamepad, right? I mean, so we have seen the value. So it's definitely there. It just didn't catch on the way waggling the Wii remote did, unfortunately.
Exactly. So yeah, that was the main reason I wanted to go through that. So we're going to touch on the main topic now, which is the NX, that console, or you know, whatever that is that nobody's talking about at all. No, obviously a lot of people are talking about it. And I'm being a little facetious here. Obviously, when I ask, do you think the NX is more popular in the Nintendo community than the Wii U is right now? And if so, why do you think that is? And I'm going to give it to you, Jay, since you had to follow up everybody last time, and it was a little rough. So go ahead and give your thoughts.
Yeah, it's more popular. I mean, it's more popular to talk about because of, well, a couple of reasons. Anytime there's a new system that comes that's, you know, that's starting to leak out, people are going to start gravitating toward it because they want to be the first ones to talk about it, get their thoughts on it. The unfortunate situation with the Wii U is it's been pretty much crucified in the media, in gaming media. It's pretty much been crucified and lambasted on pretty much all major gaming websites. So anything that people can get their hands on about the new system and what they want and what they think should be in it, they're going to be jumping all over it. That's why we have like rumors every 5 minutes, and then you come to find out nobody has dev kits. You know, well, you know, Square Enix said that they're going to be making a game for the rumored to have Final Fantasy 15 for the NX. Nobody has a dev kit.
Yeah.
And it's coming out next year. Nobody has a dev kit. You know, so yeah, it is more popular, but that's just because it's the thing that it's mysterious. And people wanna, you know, be the first ones to say, because as soon as they get something halfway right, you're gonna see 50 videos. Yeah, they did it because I said it. You know.
So true, so true.
I'm just gonna record that video now and just wait to upload it until it all comes true.
I have 2,000 subscribers, and Nintendo listened to me.
Yeah,
obviously.
Even though they don't listen to Angry Joe.
And they also hate YouTube, so then there's that.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's no way they listened to the hundreds of reviewers that they handed copies to 3 weeks ago and got their feedback. It was definitely the YouTube community.
We did it.
We did it. That's a new hashtag. Hashtag we did it.
All right, Rob. What do you think? What do you think about that one?
So I guess as far as like a topic to talk about, yes, it's totally more popular. I mean, it's understandable. Like
real quick. Let me preface that.
Yeah.
I don't. I should have said it earlier. I don't say that because I think it's bad. I'm just
Sure.
asking the question. I just want to preface.
Yeah, I didn't think it sounded bad. I didn't think it
Okay.
sounded negative.
Okay.
It's a good question, because it's definitely like the zeitgeist topic right now, like especially in the Nintendo community and for all of us, because we're like a huge part of the Nintendo and YouTube community. You know, a lot of us have made a lot of videos. I've made quite a few videos on the rumors about it. And so yeah, it's like it's a new system. It's a new system that's Nintendo's new system, so that always gets a very specific level of attention, which is usually really exciting. And it's also just weird. Like everything about the NX is weird as shit. It just is. and a lot of it's good, and a lot of it is like Jay, like you were saying, it's so mysterious that it's just baffling. You know, and I've gone on like a roller coaster of emotion about everything that I've always known is only a rumor. Jay, something else you were driving home is no one has dev kits. No one freaking, you know, we say it's coming out next year, but that's only based on a rumor. So we just don't know. With so little to know, but so many people talking about it, it is more popular than the Wii U, and I don't really know if like this is kind of what you're getting at, T, but it's sort of like overshadowing the Wii U in a way, which I think is too bad.
That'll be a
Like,
follow-up. We'll get to.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. Anyway.
No, it's cool. It's cool.
But I mean, I guess that's kind of how I look at it when I think about the idea of if the NX is more popular than the Wii U, and it's, you know, part of the reason, if you guys have probably seen a lot of my videos talking about the rumors of the NX and why a lot of it just doesn't get me excited right now, because I still like the Wii U right now. I like the Wii U the way it is. There's so many freaking games to play now and even very soon, and it's like, dude, let's not care yet. Like, Nintendo hasn't even talked about it. We're getting news from this company and Square Enix and this douchebag under a rock in Sweden, and it's like we don't know any of this stuff. It all could be exciting. It could be terrible. It could be weird. But like, what about the system we have right now that actually has a library of games that I really like, and I don't want to have to maybe give up or abandon as soon as some things make it seem like it probably will be abandoned, you know? And a lot of this is, I feel like the genesis for most of this, obviously, is like the E3, because with E3, a lot of us were talking, myself included, and I even still believe this, that it really showcased that Nintendo might be ready to say, we got some games for 2015, and then we're going to be slow until we show you our next system in 2016 kind of thing, and that's what we're going to do going forward. So, you know, because of all those crazy factors, to answer your question, T, yeah, it's more popular because it's just a weird, mysterious, interesting, quirky thing that's happening, and no one knows what to do about it. So, that's my thoughts.
Perfect. Okay. All right. What do you think, Juice?
Since June 16th till yesterday, the NX has definitely been the hot topic in the gaming community, not just Nintendo fans.
Right.
But I honestly think yesterday marked the end of that, at least until the rest of this year. With, I think, Super Mario Maker is going to overshadow. There's not going to be too many people talking about the NX for the next couple of weeks, if even for the rest of the year, with the rest of the games that are coming out. I think there's just too much of a gap between Splatoon and Mario Maker, led to, plus the E3, disappointing E3 where they didn't show any 2016 games. It still remains to be seen whether they did that because they learned their lesson from 2014 where they showed all their stuff early, and then that led 2015 where they realized they didn't have as much to show new stuff because they showed it all the year before. I don't know, maybe they were trying to set up 2016 E3. I mean, we don't know the whole picture yet. We won't know until Nintendo tells us more. Maybe the NX come out in 2016, but it's just been popular because people have been upset and thought Nintendo was moving on. But I think Super Mario Maker is proof. I mean, my Google Plus feed is just filled with Super Mario Maker and Wave 5 amiibo pics and videos, and I think it's going to be a huge game, and I think the NX is going to die down quite a bit until next year, unless Nintendo bring.
Mario Maker, I can do mods of Mario games on my PC. What you talking about?
Yeah, it's true. That game's worth $10. But but in a way, the NX has been the topic of conversation because there wasn't much to talk about. Nintendo hasn't had anything since, other than that Xenoblade Chronicles, which we've seen that game so much, even the Japanese presentations, since E3 they haven't been a Nintendo Direct. They've hardly had any kind of news to talk about other than Mario Maker had a little informational video. So I really think October needs to be the return of the Nintendo Direct, and remind people and show Star Fox again, and hopefully it lives up to everyone's expectations for what E3 they want it to look like, and not just graphically, but I just mean gameplay and everything else.
Right.
Remind people that the Wii U is still here, and I think they can do that. But yeah, the NX has been a hot topic, and unlike Rob, I've had a policy not to talk about the rumors. I feel like people can just make up anything, post it to a site, and then it becomes newsworthy. And I think it's because the rumors were so polar opposites. One saying a $150 system that's weaker than the PS4, then another one saying it's x86, and I just think people are just spreading the rumors on purpose. And I mean,
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's weird because we're at year 3, almost just before year 3. I can't remember ever where someone people were talking about the next generation this early.
Yeah.
The Xbox came out, or the Xbox 360 came out 4 years after the original Xbox. So I'm guessing in year 3, I don't remember, they probably unveiled it. So that might have been a similar situation. But the Xbox, that was the first one. It wasn't, it didn't have Nintendo's legacy. So, I think people kind of forget that original Xbox only lasted 4 years before the 360
And it
came
was
out.
kind of a commercial failure.
It did okay.
It sold a couple million more than GameCube.
Mhm.
I think that makes it a failure. But
But yeah,
Too
so I
much
mean,
logic.
that was a similar situation, and it worked out for the 360. But like I think, like Rob said, it's more the unknown because we don't have any information. But really, there shouldn't be any discussion about it. Really, Nintendo shouldn't have mentioned it at E3. They just should
yeah,
not have put it in the digital event. And I don't think we'd be where we are right now if they hadn't.
yeah.
That was a very
Because
curious decision.
I was that was going to be my start of my answer, and that is yes, the NX is more popular than the Wii U right now, and it's kind of Nintendo's fault. they
Ooh.
they gave us a pretty dismal E3 digital event, and then they opened their mouths about an NX console, or they shouldn't have done that. They just should not have done that, especially at that time, at the time where people were like, what's this? Because obviously we got some great games coming this year. We've had some great games, but we don't know much beyond this year. And if you don't give us that, and the E3 showing is kind of poor, and you mention another console at that E3 event, you're asking for trouble. You're asking for trouble. So it's just something that they should not have done. They did it, and that's why we are where we are. And you're right, Terminator. People are taking advantage of that focus because, like you said, anybody can go post this and post that, and people will eat it up because everybody is, like you said, not just Nintendo fans, but everybody in the industry is laser focused on NX stuff. So anybody can go anywhere and pretend to be an insider and say, this is what's happening with it, and it'll spread across the internet like wildfire, and a lot of people will get a lot of clicks and make a lot of ad money. And again, this is kind of Nintendo's fault for putting it out there. So
And especially if there's not a new handheld or console coming in 2016, then that's even worse because it really did kill any kind of positive feelings people had about the Wii U. A lot of people were on the fence, wait for Zelda, and all of a sudden they brought up NX, and now people are like, well, I'll just wait for the next system then.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, and it's part of why I've had weird feelings about like all the NX rumors and stuff, is because it really is detrimental to the Wii U, like, which I know kind of T is sort of what you're talking about, what we're all sort of talking about, and like Terminator, when you talk about killing the hype for people who are waiting for Zelda and then they lost Zelda, It also leads into that whole great library of games that are releasing still this year for the Wii U, and like that's almost missing a market, because if you turn people off from buying your Wii U this year, then all of those other games miss their chance to sell even better and reach more people, because they're like, well, the NX is coming next year, and it'll be even more of a missed opportunity if, in fact, that whatever the NX is or part of it doesn't actually launch next year.
Right.
So that's true. And like a Nintendo Direct, like you said, also really would go a long way. And a lot of people have been talking about it and waiting for one. We all know one is coming. And if they make one that is focused specifically on Wii U in 2015 or even 2016 also, and it's only about the Wii U and it's only about Star Fox and it's only about these other things that are coming, that'll really, really go, well, it'll go a pretty long way. Again, Nintendo Directs don't reach too many people outside of the hardcore Nintendo fan, but it'll still go a long way for a lot of people and do some good. So hopefully that happens soon.
Especially if they confirm Zelda's Wii U for sure and show footage.
That would be great, but even I hesitate to believe it after so much shuffling of Zelda. I'd be like, I'm not going to believe it till I see it on whatever system it comes out on.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, they give us a date and a name for the game. When you give you a name, you know you're there. You know,
Good point.
when they give you that subtitle for the Legend of Zelda, you know you're pretty much there. So.
Yeah.
actually, there's one thing I want to add to that. Like the reason why they actually first even said anything was because they did that investor meeting when they had to talk about DNA.
Yeah.
And like if they you're right, they shouldn't have said anything, but that wasn't meant for, you know.
No, I just meant Reggie. Reggie came out during
that wasn't meant for us. That was meant for, you know, the board and the stockholders. That wasn't meant for like the regular gamer. But all those reports came out because everybody was trying to say, oh, well, this is what they're going for and this is what they're doing with the mobile. Because remember, as soon as they said that, it was like, oh, they're going to put Zelda on your phone.
Yeah.
We were like, dude, stop. You know,
Yeah, it was kind of like the beginning of the mixed messages.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah. So,
but the old Nintendo wouldn't have responded to that stuff. They'd just like,
well, Yamamuchi would have had people get killed. But
Ninja Assassin.
yeah, but I mean that's where all of that stuff started, because they had to make the report, but the report was not for the gamer, was not for the YouTube gamer, the gamer that reads, you know, websites. That stuff was meant for the stockholders, the shareholders, and the board.
Yeah. What I'm saying is that they got to realize the world that we live in today. Gamers comb through everything with, you know, fine-tooth comb, and so knowing. They have to know that world and know that's where we're at now. Save that stuff. Go have a board meeting, you know, and talk to them about that stuff.
Don't have a freaking press conference.
Right. Go behind closed doors. They've done that. They do that at E3 every year. Go behind closed doors and say.
Yeah, they have that round table kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah. So that's where they initially messed up, and then Reggie ran his mouth at E3, which he really just shut up.
Well, I didn't mind the you know, the pre stuff, if you know, when they talked about NX or whatever, because they didn't really. NX was just they've given a code name for a console year 3 of the current. They've done that before. That's not a big deal.
Yeah, because they did it for didn't they call it like Project Cafe or something?
Yeah, Project Cafe. Right.
And then Dolphin and Revolution.
Exactly. That stuff was, you know, for N64. I was hearing about the Dolphin in '98. You know, Zelda.
Well, Nintendo 64 was the Ultra 64 for a while.
Right. Exactly. So that's nothing new. The fact that they came to E3 and said, we're going to talk about the NX more next year.
The NX is a thing.
You're not going to talk about it now. Don't even bring it up.
Yeah, don't bring it up.
So do you think that do you guys think that the reason that they even said it just that quickly in the press conference was because they kind of knew that they didn't have the greatest conference ahead, and they wanted to make people feel like, don't worry, there's a future to still pay attention to, but way later kind of thing?
Yeah.
No, I think what happened was they put too much stuff out. Because remember, there was a micro direct, there was the direct the day before. You know, they put too much stuff out.
And you know what that did? That hyped people up even more. It hyped me up more. I was like, they putting all this stuff out. What is E3 gonna be like? Like, you know, everybody was uber hyped going in because of the stuff they were doing around E3 before it happened. So
I'll admit, I was actually I was so excited for Nintendo at E3 that I actually made myself nervous, because I was like, last year was so good, and all these things are pointing to so many good things that we can expect this year. And I knew it. I was like, I shouldn't do this. I know I shouldn't do this, but I was really pumped.
Right.
And for me, even, and I talked about it a couple times, like, the way they began that thing was unfreaking believable. I was by myself in my living room, like clapping and cheering with the puppets and the Star Fox music. Lord Jesus, I was so excited. Like, oh my God, it's gonna happen. Star Fox, these puppets, this shit's gonna be amazing. And after Star Fox, oh my God, it was.
I was getting misty-eyed. I was like, yes.
Yeah, and see, I figured you would too because you're a Star Fox guy like I am, and it was like, this is the most perfect thing ever. And to see it fall so fast was really.
It just fell off a cliff after that. It was just like,
Oh my God! It was like a brick wall.
I was drinking Coronas, man. I was drinking Coronas.
Yeah.
Can we
I
not
went
talk
from an
about that
energy drink
sad?
to vodka.
Let's talk about something happy.
All right,
Yeah,
so
good call.
I just wanted to lead into, well, not lead into it, but I think the point of it was mainly to say, you know, a lot of it, you know, a lot of the attention, like I said, was kind of Nintendo's fault. But on the flip side of that, we are getting great games this year. Even with all the noise, if you're a Nintendo fan, you should still be somewhat happy for that stuff. Like, there's stuff that people were last year even begging for Nintendo to bring, and they're actually bringing them. And I just wanted to point those things out. I had a podcast with Grimpachi, King Grimpachi. Shout out to him. Was it last night? Feels like it was a couple days ago. It was a couple nights ago. And you know, I kind of talked about this then. Is that you know, we had the hashtag redirect movement by Shokio, and they wanted what he wanted was to, you know, bring Nintendo fans together and ask for stuff for Nintendo, and one of those things was Star Fox, and we're getting Star Fox, and I just think if that was, I mean, it was this whole voting thing. And people picked Star Fox as one of the things they wanted to ask for. That was the first thing they wanted to ask for.
That's been a long time conversation, actually.
Yeah, and I'm like,
Star Fox.
Right, and I'm like, well, you know, we're getting Star Fox, and it looks pretty damn awesome. And now that you're getting it, it just seems like when we get the stuff, the fervor is gone. You know, say we have this fervor before we get the stuff. You know, we ask for stuff, and then when we get it, that fervor dies. Again, another thing is Fatal Frame 5. There was oh man, Nintendo's stupid to not bring this to the West. We want this game, blah blah blah. We're getting it, and I just don't see those people, you know, cheering for that or happy.
Because we're not getting a physical copy. Okay?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I didn't like that. I said it already. I don't like that, but you still get in the game. A lot of people, you know, that doesn't bother to have a digital. It bothers me a little bit.
Yeah, I'm really frustrated at people not being more excited for that because that was such a conversation for so long.
That was such a conversation that was a couple months people were like, oh, livid about.
Yeah, I was livid too. I was like, bring this over here. Like, I want this game. And
people were saying, see, this is why we want we don't want region lock because we can buy the game we want. Well, you know what? No, that's not an issue. And why aren't you celebrating it right now? And obviously, Xenoblade Chronicles at the end of the year. Come on. I mean,
yeah, and I think the problem with that is, maybe I don't want to cut you off, Terminator, but I was going to build off of what I think I know you're going to say. We've seen it for so long.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the thing, though.
I've said that too. We first got a glimpse of that game in what, 2013?
13? Yeah.
Let me throw this out there to all the people that are using that excuse. How long have you known about Final Fantasy 15 or Kingdom Hearts 3?
They're still excited for that?
Sure. There's no release date for that.
Yeah.
The same one person in particular who I've had a face-to-face with now, we kind of, you know, we went and talked about our differences, but Zen was very adamant about Xenoblade Chronicles isn't even on his radar anymore because it's been so long. And then, but I don't know if he said it or it was somebody else, part of their group, but it's still hyping up Final Fantasy 15, and that's not even potentially 2016. That might be 2017. And it's just, it's that, really, that's your reason? But how long's it been?
I can see you not being as excited.
A game doesn't get less good looking, though, just because you...
I know, like, you might be like, okay, I wish it would have came out sooner, but when the game comes out, how could you not still be excited if you were genuinely excited before? Right. And if you're still excited, if you're an RPG fan, for the potential Final Fantasy 15 and Kingdom Hearts, which are going to be an even longer time before they finally come out.
Right.
I think that's kind of a weak excuse at this point to.
It's kind of weak, yeah.
Well, not to
say.
mention
Because we have other examples, like you said, Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts,
well, Zelda. How long will we have been seeing
Zelda.
Zelda for and hearing about it by the time whatever it finally comes out on releases?
I mean, technically, we saw that at launch or
Yeah.
pre-launch. If you
Kind
want
of
to go
true.
back to
And
the
like, like Twilight Princess, how many times did we see and hear that before it finally came out as they
right,
were building up for that one, and then it eventually became a Wii game, and so that just happens.
yeah, it does happen. So, but yeah, good. That was good. Where are we now? Let's see. So yeah, that was
But
basically the main. What you get some?
yeah, like you were saying, a lot of people were even saying, I don't know if you brought it up. I was gathering my thoughts. Did you bring up how people were crying about Devil's Third not being in the
Oh
digital
yeah,
event?
I meant to add in Devil's Third too.
And then it gets confirmed, and then because of some bad previews, they just instantly not only are they not excited or not going to buy the game, but they're not willing to give Nintendo the credit for not
Yeah,
showing
because
that piece of garbage at the
they were
digital event.
exactly because they were ragging Nintendo. Oh, this is that Nintendo crap that Nintendo of America especially they're getting in the way again. Blah blah blah. Well, it looks like the game's not going to be good, and those people didn't come out and say, "Well, thank you Nintendo for not giving us this game or
Thanks,
whatever,"
man.
or not
That would not have made the digital event any better if what they showed was a choppy frame rate Devil's
yeah.
Third with not improved visuals. That would have only
Yeah,
made it
apparently
worse.
that's true. I maintain I am still excited for that game, and I'm gonna risk it
I'm
and
right
hope.
with you. Like I said it again with the podcast I did with King. Go check it out if you haven't watched it. Um, the thing that drew me into the game was how weird and quirky and like I said, the crazy Russian dude with the Japanese tattoos and just the crazy action and all that stuff. Like I bought, like I said before, I bought games that were rated or reviewed as mediocre or below, mediocre.
That turned out to
Games
be
like
great.
that I had a lot of fun with. So I'm not just gonna because a game has bad reviews or below average reviews. I'm not just gonna turn off as because I still wanted to have. I was focused in on the game. There were things about the game that I liked. So I'm still if it's not a mechanic things, like I said before, if it's not about the mechanics of the game that mire it and hurt and affect the game itself, the enjoyment, then I'm still going to be down for it. But if
Yeah,
those
T, I
things
don't know
are
if I've talked to you about this before, T, but I know you'd appreciate this. I super liken that game, Devil's Third, to like a Suda 51 game.
exactly,
And a lot of his games are, they're really not reviewed all that well.
no,
But
no,
if you like what he does and like the quirky humor that Suda has and that I think Devil's Third looks like it has, it just has like so much of its own character that if it works for you, which to be fair, it doesn't
right.
work for all that many people,
Exactly.
but if it works for you like it does for you and me, it could be really good.
Exactly.
That's my hope
Very
with
good
that.
point. Very good point.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, that was Nintendo just doesn't get it. Where's Devil's Third? And now that we basically see why, it makes sense that they wouldn't show that game. And
Right.
like I said, that would not have made the digital event any better.
No.
Especially if you watched Nintendo Domination's streaming, he's got 60 frames per second uploads, but trying to aim down the sights and the multiplayer, it literally jumps half a screen in one frame. Like, it's just so choppy. I just think Nintendo made the right choice there. Fatal Frame they showed in the treehouse, and it actually sold me on the game what they showed. So you're right though. People ask for Star Fox, and then now it's not good enough, and people ask for Fatal Frame. It's a year later, but is there a month better than October to release that game in? I mean, honestly,
it's a year later. There's not a lot of games out there for Wii U, so
yeah, if they could have put it out in March, they probably could have had it localized by then. But what's better month, March or October for a horror game?
Yeah, October. That's just, the Fatal Frame series is right up there with that's really actually frightening.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The sad part of it, though, because they decided to go digital and over here, is that it's going to be hard to market that. Like, how do you market a digital game?
Plus, yeah, it's a fairly large size download.
It's huge. For your 32 gigabyte Wii U, if you even have enough space,
Well, and that goes into some of, as excited as I am for that game, even digital, like that goes into some of the issues with them doing that. So
Yeah.
it's a curious choice, you know, and I discussed the whole Fatal Frame thing too, about how like any other day of the week with any other game, I'd be really upset about a game I would be excited for to come out and only be digital. But this was a game that we were clamoring for, and I myself was clamoring for, and I said, I don't care if you make it digital only. We were so afraid we wouldn't even see that game.
Right.
That I get why they're bringing it over here and only doing digital, because I think that they're worried that people might not like it as much as we've been saying we would. So I think that that's why they're doing that. But when you guys bring up the whole size of that game, like how do you market a game with such a big download on a system with only a 32 gig?
Exactly. That's the biggest issue, is that the Wii U only has 32 gigabytes internal memory. So
it's kind of a misstep on their part.
I think it's a pretty big misstep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wouldn't have been a big deal for Splatoon, which is 2 gigs.
Right. Or
which is Fatal Frame, I think was what did you say, 15 or something? It's
Fatal
like
Frame's 15.
It's
Like 17.
Yeah, 16. Yeah, it's half of your gigs.
Yeah.
Your space.
So, I mean,
most people don't have that much space on their 3D or on their Wii U right now. So
you know, I'm lucky. I probably do because, again, you know me. I download very, very little.
Mm-hmm.
But even if I did, I would clear up whatever room I need to play that game. But I think it sucks that I would have to clear up that room.
I have that much space only because, obviously, I have
hard drive.
I have an external hard drive. But even with, I have all of my indie titles on my Wii U itself. But I'm like I'm like 18 gigs. That's about all I have left. So I'm
Your
right
Wii
at
U's going to be bloated once you download.
Right, because I like to have my my indie games on the console itself and save the hard drive or digital retail or something like that, which I only have like 1 or 2. So that's a big big issue for a lot of people. Most people, like I said, don't have that much space currently on their Wii U. So how do you market that in that instance? And they could have done what they did with the Indiana Jones and the Infernal Machine or whatever they did on N64. It was a
wasn't that a game?
Games exclusive? Huh?
Wasn't that a Wii game? The Infernal Machine?
No, I think it's N64.
Is it that old?
Yeah, N64.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, my bad.
Yeah, that's no problem. But yeah, they could have done like a thing where it's only a certain retailer and it was exclusive, and that way they could have kept down. There's just other things they could have done.
I think the perfect solution for Fatal Frame, as someone who was beyond pumped and a huge horror game fan, is like if they were so worried about making like retail copies of that game and saving money, is to do like a special custom pre-order program.
That's what I said. I said that before, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, man. I guess I missed that. My bad.
No,
but yeah, like if they do it specific to like, I mean, I know you also mentioned like the unique retailer, but if it's like people order it, and even if it takes like a month to get it after you order it, I think people would still do it, and so that'd be a nice win. Anyway, I didn't mean to repeat your point.
No, it's all right. I don't think I said it in a video. I think I said it in a comment on somebody else's video, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was, so you wouldn't have seen it. But yeah, I mean that to me would be the best way. You're gonna probably sell a certain amount, make that amount, and then everything else is sell by print by sale. This guy you get your numbers. They pay full price.
Mm-hmm.
Or there's no $5 down on it or anything like that. So you're getting your money, and then you print that disc.
What they could do, I just thought of this really good idea, is they could have a tiered pre-order system.
They can augment.
If enough people pre-order it, then they'll actually put stuff back in the game for you to play.
I feel like you're treading dangerous ground with that one.
You know what he's talking about, right?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
I don't even remember what game that's for. I just
Deus Ex.
Deus Ex.
It hurts my heart because I like that series.
Yeah, me too.
I got another great idea, though. I got another great idea.
What's that?
This action RPG game that's coming out, they should not put it on the Wii U, but release a $200 special edition that comes with a secondary screen controller called the PIP, so that you can like.
That's a great idea, man. You should tell them to do that.
And I know I know at least two people in the community that have pre-ordered the PIP edition. That basically functions like the gamepad, even though the gamepad's a gimmick and blah blah blah. Anyway,
Dude,
sorry.
I literally, when talking about Fallout after E3, I don't even know if any of you guys had
Oh,
seen
I saw the video.
Yeah, I've said that. It made me angry. I was like, and I am so pumped for Fallout 4, and I was like, dude, you guys made a freaking $200 Pip-Boy for it. It's the reason they didn't make that shit on the Wii U, because they could have just made the $60 version that would have the Pip-Boy in your hand for the Wii U,
Well,
but instead of doing that, they'd rather make a $200 version that you get the actual Pip-Boy.
And, I don't want to sound like a fanboy or anything here, but I'm looking. Fallout 4 doesn't look like anything the Wii U couldn't do in some capacity.
Well, and it's true, and that's why it goes back to the other thing with like if the Wii U had sold better, like ideally in a perfect world, they would see the value in spending different resources to make a Wii U. Because like think of like Fallout 3. What if it looked like you had Fallout 4 looking only slightly better than Fallout 3, but nowhere near the other versions? Like I would happily play that version with the Wii U gamepad as my Pip-Boy than the better looking version on the other two. But I'm a small market, so I get it. It just, my hope, my stupidly misguided fanship this whole time has always been, why don't developers want to be creative? Like instead, I know they're always looking for the dollar. If you're imaginative, you should be able to say, wow, we can make the beautiful looking version on the PS4, but we can do this amazing other thing on the Wii U. How fun would it be to make that and give that to people? But they don't. It's it's
if you're imaginative, you're an indie company, so.
It's true.
And
you are doing that kind of stuff. You are thinking.
The ironic thing is there's a lot of people in the Nintendo community even saying that the Wii U's overpriced at $300 and the gamepad is being forced on us, which increases it $100. Yet people are willing to spend $200 on a game with basically a gamepad type functionality. You're spending $200 on a game, but you saying the system's not worth $300 and it comes with a new game. That kind of stuff is just.
There's very little consistency with a lot of arguments.
Exactly.
It's pretty asinine.
That's how it goes over here,
we got pretty far off topic, didn't we?
Yeah, that's fine though.
That's fun though. It's good to tangent.
Yeah, you need to go off on a tangent here and there. So let me go ahead and go into the last topic and get to some of these questions if we can.
Sweet.
There's not many. So, and the last one is, what are you looking forward to? Obviously, Nintendo put out their fall and holiday release schedule. What are you looking forward to on Wii U and your other consoles? So go ahead and start that off, Rob.
Well, I have a lot because I also own all three consoles, and I plan on supporting them all in different ways. But obviously, the Wii U, there's a lot to play. People, please don't forget, for all you people who are so down on some of what Nintendo's doing, there's so many games to play. Mario Maker, Terminator Juice just came out. That was today. I cannot wait to pick that. I'll be picking mine up probably tomorrow at this point.
After this podcast, I'm getting in on that. So.
Yeah, I mean, if we wrapped up soon enough, I might be able to speed to GameStop to pick up my copy tonight, but I don't know. We'll have to see. And that's okay. I don't mind getting it tomorrow. But Mario Maker, I'm obviously going to play. Xenoblade is right at the top of my list. Star Fox, I'm pooping my pants for. I cannot wait for Star Fox. Devil's Third, like I said, I'm definitely going to play that. Yoshi's Woolly World. Lot of stuff still to play. Fatal Frame, for me, I'm definitely going to buy Fatal Frame. So that's 5 or 6 games right there on the Wii U. My most anticipated game, though, is Fallout 4, which I know we were just talking about and kind of dogging different aspects of it. But I'm just buying the $60 regular Fallout 4 game, probably for my PS4, but I'm not quite sure yet. And I'm really jazzed because I love Fallout. I think it's going to be great. Tomb Raider, I'm definitely going to play. Halo 5, I'm going to play. Is going to be awesome. And Star Wars Battlefront is probably the last other really big one I know that I'm gonna make sure to pick up. I might be forgetting a couple, but I don't know. I'm gonna spend too much money this year. It's stupid.
Yeah. What about you,
Those
Jay?
are all the games. Say again?
Oh, what you're saying? Going to Jay. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Like Rob, I have all 3 systems. So PS4, I'm getting Tales of Zestiria. Microsoft, I'm getting Halo 5. And I'm getting Star Fox, Xenoblade, and it's still up in the air about Devil's Third.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know yet.
You better buy Mario Maker before Devil's Third, otherwise I'm gonna disown you, man.
We're gonna take your Nintendo card, man.
Well,
Yeah, priorities definitely count.
Unless you hate platformers.
I'm waiting for something to happen. If something happens like I need it to happen in the next couple of weeks, then I'll get Mario Maker next week.
I'm curious what that is.
You don't want to know. Trust me.
Man, this shit got real serious. Okay.
It's not going to end well for me. But just
Okay.
Oh man.
no. Honestly, that's pretty much what it is for me anyway.
Cool. All right. What about you, TJ?
Well, I'm just a Nintendo fag over here, so
Nintendo.
my PC graphics card's going on 3 years now, so I'm debating whether I'm gonna try to get Battlefront. Well, it's not even guaranteed. It'll have to be receive great word of mouth. Like I'm not. It's one of the few instances where I'll gonna use reviews as kind of my final decision. I just don't trust EA and DICE at this point. I hope the game's good. If
Can
it
you trust
is,
reviews at this point though?
yeah, I mean more like user reviews and
That's
you know. Yeah, that's a good point though. So basically, my holiday or fall and holiday lineup's looking. I just picked up Mario Maker. I'm gonna try the Fatal Frame free to start. If I like that enough, I'm gonna get that game. Yoshi's Woolly World. I'm gonna pre-order the Amiibo bundle tomorrow at GameStop. Hopefully they're still available. And then Star Fox it's not 100% guarantee. I want to see it again. I want to see more, but it's 95% likely, so it's pretty likely. Fast Racing Neo, Typo
When
Man.
is that? Yeah, good call, man. When is that?
That's December, slated for December.
Gotcha. Thanks for the reminder. Yeah.
Typo Man, definitely getting that indie game unless that gets delayed. And then Xenoblade Chronicles X Special Edition is gonna wrap up my year. I'm not gonna buy Devil's Third full price. So unless everybody else in this, on my friends list gets it and says it's awesome and it's great online, I might pick it up. But
Yeah.
The only other possibility is Tomb Raider on the 360 version because I saw some screenshots. Mezatique and I forget who else was in the group. I couldn't tell the difference in two of the screenshots. I thought the Xbox One version was the 360 version and vice versa.
I could tell. I mean, I pointed it out to me.
There's a couple. Once you point out a few of the things,
Yeah.
I know
I
it's
think if you look at
in motion.
picture,
In motion, it's gonna look. I could tell it's gonna be a lot better. But the screenshots for the 360 version look pretty damn good.
They did.
So I don't know if I want to wait till March, April, May, or June to play that game when I can play it on my 360 right now, or when it comes out. I might have to pick that up and break my 2-year streak of not buying a game for my 360.
I feel like that's going to be worth it, though, man. I know you're a big Tomb Raider fan, so.
Yeah, I started playing the last one on my PC again, and got hooked into that a little bit last week. So.
Yeah, it's a damn good game.
So yeah, that's the 3DS. I think I'm skipping every game. Potentially getting Triforce Heroes, but I think every other game I'm gonna skip for the rest of this year on the 3DS. Just nothing really compelling in my opinion. Even into next year, they really don't have. I honestly think the 2016 NX will be the handheld. I think the next system will be a handheld that come out. So.
And then the handheld will fuse with the home console, if you will, at some point. So that's it for you?
Yeah, I think that's enough. That's
okay.
10 games.
Cool. Yeah, mine's pretty similar to Rob's and Terminator Juice as far as the Wii U goes. But you guys are forgetting one, and I don't blame you because nobody talks about it, and that is Rodea the Sky Soldier.
Oh, I wondered what the deal with that is.
Did they actually nail down that release though?
I think it said November. I think it was November something.
Okay, because they kept moving it around, so I just took it off my list.
See, that game, and I don't want to cut you off, T, before you get into your list, but that game's weird because I know it was like a Wii game, and now it's like a Wii and a Wii U game, and like I don't think I've seen anything from that game that's actually from like the company. I've seen like underground links within a link within an embedded
Oh,
thing.
really?
And it's like like it's not like it's being
just had a
promoted
trailer.
from what I've
They
seen.
have a YouTube channel. That's where I've been seeing their stuff come from.
I guess I've just missed that because I haven't seen like actual promotion for that at all, which is too bad because
it looks like a Wii game, and
Yeah, I don't think the Wii U version looks any better than the
it
Wii
doesn't really
version.
look much. I mean, it's obviously been up, not really upres. It's probably just been stretched to fit the HD screen. But it's weird because I think it comes with the a copy of the Wii version. The Wii U one
like
does.
a Blu-ray and a DVD kind of
Yeah,
thing.
kind of like a Blu-ray DVD combo kind of deal. Which is kind of interesting.
That's cool.
And it's also coming out on 3DS as well. So
Just wait till the future when games come with a PS4 and an Xbox One copy in the same case.
that would be crazy. Yeah, and on my X1, I think I'm not really sure, but I don't know if I'll get Halo this year or not. But I've always said I'm a kind of a casual Halo fan. It's
Probably
not,
wait to see if the matchmaking works first.
yeah. The thing is, like, that's one of the reasons I didn't rag on it, the Master Chief Collection's problems, because I really bought it for the campaigns. I wanted to go through and beat them all. And I'm not that great at Halo multiplayer anyway, but so that's one of the reasons I never really got on the broken nature of the online matchmaking. But so if I buy Halo 5, it's mostly going to be about the campaign. But I'm not going to buy it if that's broken, even if it's not something because I'm not going to support that. So, but yeah, Halo 5 potentially. If, again, like you said, Terminator, if Star Wars is good, I'm definitely, because I heard that it does actually have a campaign.
Yeah, there's some single player thing they're doing with it right now, which is really good to hear.
Yeah, because that was
truly a campaign though.
Yeah, I haven't gotten a solid answer on that. I haven't seen.
They haven't given one
information on that, so that's the only thing that maybe even come back to it, thinking about it. So if that's the case, and the game is good, it's going to be something I'm checking for. So I know there's one more out there I can't think of right now. I'm not even going to mention the indie games on Wii U or X1 or anything like that because there's so many.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Well, it's the greatest lineup in Xbox history, so you got to have more than one.
You're slacking.
Yeah, I don't care for Gears of War. It's already out because I already have Gears of War 1 through 3 on my X360. So
the remaster is amazing. I will say that it's awesome.
I get that it's what does it add? It adds multiplayer.
Honestly, it just makes it relevant to playing with people now on your Xbox One. So
Right.
like that can be enough to deter you, and like I actually agree with the reason not to buy it. But for me, it's like it just makes the game relevant to play with people right now.
Okay, so
and that's honestly what it adds.
Okay.
That's about it. And it looks great. It actually looks really great.
It does look really good. I'll give it that.
But gameplay-wise, well, okay, I haven't finished the campaign yet, but I do know that there's like a couple extra chapters I think they've thrown into that.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. But the number one thing, like I said, is it just makes it relevant, and that feels really nice. And I'm a huge Gears fan, so that's why.
I had a couple people trying to get me to buy it because they want me to, because of what you just said. Playing it with people is pretty.
I think you'd be surprised if you ever like bought like a really cheap copy and tried it again. You'd be like, you know what, this is why I missed it, and it's just getting you excited for 4.
I mean, I like Gears of War. I have 1 through 3.
Mm-hmm.
They're all great games, but it is basically the same game at the end of the day.
I mean, it is. I will totally agree. It's the same game. It's the same thing.
I never really cared for the multiplayer either. I don't know why. It's just that was a single player game for me.
Did you ever co-op it with people?
I had a lot of fun co-oping. That's where.
Split screen co-oping was cool.
Back in the day.
Back in the day, it's one of those features that's going away. It seems like.
Yeah, sadly.
So yeah, that's pretty much it for our topics there. We can run through these questions real quickly.
Oh, I forgot to add Mighty Number 9, Uncharted 4, and The Legend of Zelda.
Isn't that next year?
Yeah, those are all delayed games. That was my joke. This was all.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, poor taste.
Uh, Mighty number 9. My name is probably not even gonna get a purchase from me at this point because I'm so pissed off
That's a
with
rough one. That's really
what's
rough.
been going on with that game. So
Shady.
yeah. But yeah. So yeah, let's go ahead and answer some of these questions or get into some of these questions if we can. King Grumpachi asks, could you see Sony or Microsoft coming out with a new system for next gen, and it has a gamepad, and everyone likes it?
No, definitely not.
That's hilarious. But if they did, people would love it. No, probably not. I don't think even the people who don't like, or obviously the people who don't like Wii U's gamepad probably wouldn't flip. Some people would, because some gamers do that. You guys have to pay for online, and then they end up having to pay for online too, and then that goes away. That argument goes away. So, this is great, So
I mean, if they ever did, if it was awesome, I would certainly support it.
I'm all for it. Like,
yeah,
I'm all for companies.
It would have to be awesome.
Doing
So.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
So. Maybe they do it right, unlike Nintendo. Anybody else want to answer that, Jay? You got anything to add to that? Or?
Well, me, I'd check it out because if it's done right, yeah, why not?
Well, they already did it. Smart glass.
Well, Windows 10 on your $800 Surface should be able to do something.
I do think there could be something to be said that, I mean, when you think about when I think the PlayStation and Xbox's next generation would be, I think it's pretty far away. I've said that before. I don't think it's the 10 years that they've wanted to be, but I think it could be far away enough as like 2019 or something like that.
I think it could be at least 7 years.
Yeah, and it really could be. I think 7 is like the optimal number we're probably going to get, and maybe if things are crazy, it lasts longer, but I doubt it. But even like after a 7-year generation, we would almost be so far removed from like the gamepad and the Wii U and stuff.
Yeah,
like, is it likely they would do that? No, I don't think so. But I could sort of see, like, after all that time, maybe one of those guys sees a different benefit and a different new way to implement it that would make sense, like, in a way that we're not exactly thinking. It wouldn't be just like the gamepad, but would be some sort of touchscreen thing. I mean, it's kind of not impossible to think about, to tell you the truth.
Be a 4K or 8K 6-inch screen on it.
Yeah,
because that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Or like it comes with its like own super TV screen and then also another touch screen on top of that. Like maybe that's. I mean, we're thinking like so many years down the road, anything's possible. But
yeah, anything.
It's not likely, but it's a good question.
Yeah, and then online goes down.
Yeah.
By the end of 2019, I think every PlayStation 3 exclusive will be remastered on the PS4.
All right. This is kind of more like a statement than it is a question from King again. I see the Wii U selling more when the NX comes out. Do you?
Depends.
I think it will sell more.
Price drop.
Yeah, the price drops obviously. That happens a lot actually with the consoles. The next one.
Certain consoles like the PlayStation's last 2 consoles did that. Like PS2 sold really far into the PS3's life.
Right.
PS3 sold for a while because system was still being supported for so long. So.
But the difference is that third party. Like the Wii U does not have that, and it definitely won't get it in its last throes. So I just don't, unless they're doing something like colors and like they did with Nintendo 64 to try to get squeeze every last ounce of money they can get out of those things, and
I've wondered with all the weird NX kind of theories and stuff. I've touched on this a couple times too. I don't really know how this could be possible, but if part of the NX plan or business model is still to make the Wii U relevant for a while, and I don't really have an example of how that could be, but there's just part of me that wonders if that's kind of the game plan.
Right.
And so it would be interesting if the NX comes out. Let's say it is the portable and the console version. Let's say the portable comes out first, which is a recent rumor that I think is pretty interesting. Like if that happened, Nintendo if Nintendo supported the Wii U and started showing people again with like Nintendo Directs right at the beginning of 2016, and then the NX, we learn like part of it comes out this year and the rest is 2017, and they start trying to really support the Wii U and say, hey, it's not going away just because the NX is out, that would be the only way I could see it increasing. And I think there's like a small chance something like that could happen. Like they're trying to say the NX doesn't mean the Wii U goes away, which Iwata sort of said that before he passed, but didn't really give any further details about how it's not meant to be a replacement. You remember that? He kind of said those words. So maybe they're going to try to keep them all going together, and so then maybe Wii U sales would pick up. Again, I don't think it's likely, but they kind of said that. So
Nintendo said that quite a few times. They said that with the Game Boy Advance. They said that with
and I've wondered that are they just blowing smoke up our skirts?
I think that's kind of the corporate lingo,
probably
from them, because I've been a Nintendo fan a while, and I remember them saying stuff like that for Game Boy to Game Boy Advance and Game Boy Advance to D. I remember because they were talking like the Game Boy line was going to continue alongside with the DS.
Oh, it was the three pillars.
Right.
You're totally right. And we only had two pillars.
Yeah, that never happened. So yeah, you got a bounce right now. He said.
Yeah, I'm wearing down on 4 hours of sleep from last night. So.
All right, so if you want to go ahead and.
All right, it's great to be on Tea Talks finally after 5-6 months since you did your last one. I don't even think I was on the last one, but thanks for having me on. Good discussion with you guys. Sorry, I'm just I got nothing left in the tank. I need to go to sleep. So
it's all good, man.
It's late for you, man.
It's been a good discussion, and can't wait to play some more Mario Maker and try people's levels and have people try my levels.
All right, man. So, thanks for joining.
Yeah, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Rob, I'd love to get you on the Juices Loose someday.
I'm going to find a way to make it happen. I'm just going to call into work one day. So
one day you just have to take a Monday off and let me know.
I legit will do it, man. I legit will come back to the Juices Loose. I miss it so much.
That's hardcore right there. That's hardcore.
Yeah, that's dedication.
All right, guys and gals. We will see you next time.
All right, man.
Later, bro.
All right, so let's go ahead and just finish. We don't have a lot of questions here, so.
Sure, I'm good to go as long as you guys want to. So.
Yeah. All right, cool. GBG, INU, Andre. He asked, if the Wii U did well, do you think the PS4 version of Zombie would have tried to emulate the Wii U gamepad features with either the PS Vita or the Sony Xperia? I think if the Wii U did well, Zombie U wouldn't be on PS4.
It wouldn't, and even if it was, they would have tried to use the Vita.
Yeah, that's what I think. What do you think, Rob?
Yeah, I pretty much agree with both of you guys. Like, and Zombie U wasn't as bad of a seller as some people want to make it out to be, but it wasn't the hit it probably should have been. Yeah, and I freaking love that game so much. God. And I think you're totally right. If it had done better, they probably wouldn't have had a reason to try to release it on the other systems, and they probably would have moved ahead with the sequel.
Yeah. See, the problem is with Zombie U is the kind of the same problem we have with Shenmue. I hate to compare Zombie U and Shenmue because it's
kind of weird, but
way different games. But what I'm saying is that they had hidden production costs because you look at Zombie U and you're like, this game didn't cost that much. But the problem was
no way.
But the problem was a year before that, Zombie U was a completely different game. It was Killer Freaks from Outer Space.
Yeah. Yes, you're right. People forgot about that. Yeah.
And so they completely flipped that game. I'm sure that raised that budget quite a bit.
And they were developing for brand new hardware at the time.
They were developing for exactly. So if it wasn't for that, and Shenmue, like I said, Shenmue started off on Sega Saturn. And they looked like they were pretty far into that game on Sega Saturn, and then they had to switch to Dreamcast.
I actually didn't know that was a Saturn game first.
I actually learned that not too long ago myself. And people talk about how it was 40 million to I've heard 70 million even.
Yeah,
for,
crazy.
Shenmue, and you could see that with the type of game that it is, obviously, especially for that time when it came out. Nothing around was like it. Those costs wasn't all for that one console. That production cost kind of followed it, and it just built and built and built. So I think that's what happened with Zombie U. I think if they would have started off at Zombie U, it'd have been a better looking game. We'd have got some more things in it, like some
Maybe
multiplayer.
like a true multiplayer online, something like
Yeah,
that.
an extra melee weapon or two.
Yeah, that would have been nice. You mean the ones that took them 3 years to implement in the other versions?
Yeah, and they're exact same thing. They're just a
They
different.
do the same thing, yeah.
Yeah, they're just a different texture.
It's. I mean, we can get into like the sad sob story that is Zombie U and what could have been if they would have taken those ideas and built on them in an amazing sequel.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it just is what it is. And, I mean, obviously, like to really answer Andre's question, though, like yeah, there probably could be a pretty kick-ass version even on the PS4 using the Vita, but that's a pretty big investment for a game that is probably not necessary to pay that much to play.
But you're gonna have to buy a Vita if you don't have one, and that's $200 right there. So,
Plus, remember that game is built to be like an old school,
Yeah, old school, wavering. Just sorry, you're gonna die.
Yeah.
You're going to die.
At some point, you're going to die, no matter how good you think you are.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of gamers, especially the ones that have been groomed in the last 10 years, they ain't feeling that. They want that.
Want to fun a gun, and you're not gonna fun a gun that game.
They want that regenerating health. They don't want to have to go. What's this? I got to go find my crap that I.
What's a health pack? What is this bar on the bottom of my screen? I'm confused.
Right. It's just too old school, I think, for this gen.
Yeah. Well, and the pace and the way the horror was laid out.
Right. The pacing, obviously, more people are more into more action-oriented zombie games than they are the old school stuff.
That's why I think that game is great, and it makes me want to just do a random quick segue. Another game when we were talking about games for this year, I didn't get a chance to bring up that I just played is Until Dawn on the PS4, and that game is only 2 or 3 weeks old. My girlfriend and I went through that, and it is to die for. And it does have consequence with your characters can die and whatnot. And I don't even know, that game was way better than I expected. It was kind of a gamble, but it was a PS4 exclusive I wanted to try for this year for kind of this fall holiday time. And I will say for anyone out there who is curious, it's badass. Definitely give it a shot. And it has that Zombie U kind of element where when your people die.
Uh-oh.
Did we lose him?
I think so. I don't hear him. Oh, come back. Oh.
Can you hear me?
Oh, there you go. Okay, good. And now we probably have a delay. Oh, he came back and he's gone again. Oh, those technical difficulties. Please stand by.
Well, while we're waiting, I mean, zombie is a weird conundrum because old school people like you and me gonna like it because it's Resident Evil 1 and 2 all over again.
Exactly.
But people that's now they playing Resident Evil 6 and they just want to get the AK-47 and the rocket launcher and go run and gun, and you're not gonna do that.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's that defeats the purpose.
That appreciation isn't the same.
Okay.
All right, you back, Rob?
Yeah. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we hear.
Sorry, my PC went possess mode for a second and everything froze. I'm so sorry, but I'm back.
It's cool. PC Master Race. All right. Can you remember what your thought was?
Yeah, I know it was probably in the middle of my Until Dawn rant, but the quick thing was it's a great game, and it shared some of those qualities that Zombie U has that made it really good, where your people die, and it really matters. Yeah. So I just think it's another fall game that's already out that people should consider if they like the PS4. It's a good game.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, it's been getting good reviews, so...
yeah, way better than I expected.
Yeah, I was not expecting it to be getting good reviews. It didn't look like it was going to be that good. So
I would say that for most people, because of how story heavy it is, it might be better as a cheaper purchase than the $60 it costs right now.
Good point.
Maybe when that game is easy to buy at $30, it's a really good value for most people, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I had a good time with what's the PS3?
Heavy Rain?
Heavy Rain and Indigo Prophecy. I like those games occasionally. Yeah, I like Indigo Prophecy a lot.
Man, well, you don't have a PS4, but I think you would probably freaking love. And as a movie fan, you would love Until Dawn. It's really it's too clever for its own good, and it really is a lot of fun. Me and my girlfriend had a freaking blast playing it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it kind of works with an audience. Like it's like, what decisions are we gonna make? And it's really cerebral. It makes you think, and it's kind of funny. It's like I Know What You Did Last Summer meets Scream, man. I'm telling you.
I think
So,
once I make that PS4 purchase, it'll be one of those games I might pick up as well. I'm waiting on that Uncharted. That's what I'm doing. So.
Good call. Smart man. That'll be a smart purchase.
So, all right. Next question then. Is it Andre again? Yeah. Do you guys think I should do a third-party amiibo possibilities video?
Yes.
Go for it, man.
Definitely.
That would be interesting. That would definitely be interesting.
And put Bayonetta as one of them.
What's that?
And put Bayonetta as one of them.
Bayonetta, of course.
Like number one, everyone wants it. I want 5 Bayonetta amiibo. Well, and Shovel Knight's kind of like breaking the doors open for that, right? That's the idea.
That came out of nowhere. And was just...
They made it, right? Isn't that them making it, not Nintendo?
Yeah, they made it.
Yeah, they made it. Yeah. I mean, how
crazy.
Awesome is that? That's a great story.
EA
Club and Nintendo. That's pretty cool.
EA, you're missing out on all that money, EA.
You know what I'm saying?
Are you thinking like Madden figures and stuff?
Pretty much.
Oh my goodness.
God.
But even the way to unlock like old school players, like but they probably wouldn't want to do that because they have had that in the past, and it was either free or it was like DLC or something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, people make money off of.
When is EA cared?
Yeah. Exactly. All right, let me move on. Next question is from Tony Kaname Kuran. Is it Kuran? Yeah.
Tony Kuran, I think. I've heard his name before, so I think it's Tony Kuran.
Yeah. All right, Tony Kuran. Do you think Nintendo should bring more apps on the NX? I think wrestling fanatics will want to see WWE Network added to the Wii U, and it's not. Good question.
Yeah.
At first, I was like, more apps. What apps are on the NX that we know?
Yeah, I thought something
but
different, yeah.
Then he said Wii U. I was like, oh, okay, you mean it's beyond the Wii U's apps? Okay. Yeah. I mean I think a lot of people have mentioned the WWE Network app. That would be great. Yeah, they should step it up, the app game. Wii U I thought would have a lot more. It's prime for that kind of stuff. Because we had all those weird kind of things in the beginning, like the tour thing and the
like the Google thing.
Yeah, and it's just like, oh, they're gonna be dropping some apps on this thing. It doesn't even have as many as like we had, I think.
I think that like the eShop is actually like pretty well laid out. I like the eShop a lot. But
I love the eShop, love it.
Yeah, but there's some things they could improve. Like, what if there was an app section? Like, you should just be able to go to apps.
Apps, that's it.
And just find things.
Mm-hmm. That would be the way to go. I think they are going to do that stuff. I really do. Especially running with DNA. DNA is going to be thinking along those lines, I think. So.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah, that was a great question there. Who's this? That's Tony again. Do you think there's a possibility that Legend of Zelda would be coming to the NX? I've said yeah. I think it's possible. It depends on when it's going to launch. If it's going to launch early next year, I don't think so, obviously. But if it's slated for next fall, I think it might be a possibility.
It's that's like the big $1 million question probably for a lot of people, even more than just the NX itself. Is like, how will Zelda play out?
Right.
I don't even know anymore, and I don't even know that I feel comfortable wagering a guess.
I know, right?
It's hard to know what makes sense and what I don't even know what I want. To tell you the truth, because I know I'll buy an NX, and I really think that the Wii U deserves the game that we've been promised.
Oh, but I think it's going to get it for sure. I think Zelda's coming for Wii U. I have no doubt about that. It's just, is it coming?
Do you guys really? Let me ask though. Do you guys really want another version where it's like, okay, like the launch Zelda game for the NX is technically a last gen game that's only slightly better? Like, I don't really know. It worked once, but I don't know that I want that again. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think they're going to do that again. I honestly don't.
I don't think it would be that big of a deal though. At this point, because that game is gorgeous. That game that we saw, Zelda, It
definitely was gorgeous. I mean, it is gorgeous, and it's probably only going to look better. But
yeah,
I don't know.
But if it does come on the NX, that means there's going to be some gamepad support, I would guess. So
Well,
that's a
unless
whole
they're
nother thing.
retooling it though, so that it doesn't need the gamepad the same
They
way.
do that, I'm gonna be upset.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be livid.
Yeah, true. What were you saying, Jay? I know you were saying something.
I don't think they're gonna do that this time. I honestly don't think they're gonna do that this time. I think what's gonna wind up happening with Zelda is Zelda's gonna hit next year, and they're gonna, as soon as that hits, they're probably gonna start on whatever they're gonna do for the next console. I don't think they're gonna do that again.
I just think they should make NX backwards compatible. Problem solved.
That would. Wow,
times,
you know what?
Knowing
That's a good
Nintendo,
point.
they're gonna do that.
Yeah.
They will, because the whole question is like, are they really missing out on a lot of sales and a lot of money? As much as it's like, okay, I kind of agree they should just make a Wii U version of that game, but it's like the business side of me says, damn it, it really would be smart to have Zelda launch with the NX. I mean, because it helped before, and it'll help again.
It definitely helped the Wii.
Oh my God, it helped so much. And it's like, business-wise, like at first I was mad at the idea of them doing that, and then I was like, I almost can't be mad because if the Wii U is dying the way it seems to be, they'd almost be stupid not to do something with Zelda on the NX.
Because you're still gonna get it on the you're gonna get a console you have right now. They're just giving you on the next thing, and I don't see how that that would hurt anything. I think obviously the Wii version sold more than the GameCube version.
It also came out first.
And it came out
People
first,
forget that,
right?
yeah.
So, I don't think it would hurt either way. It can only help, I think.
Yeah, I guess my whole perspective though is, I know you said yes, like the Zelda we've seen looks really gorgeous, but again, I would have that feeling of like, well, this is just the one tailor-made to everything the last generation system did really well, and the last generation's maximum capabilities. But what if this was truly like the next gen NX Zelda, and only that? Like, how amazing that would be. I would just rather have that than the last.
That's not going to happen either way, I don't think, because
that
means they're going to revamp the whole game. At
Yeah,
this point, I don't see them.
What if that's what they're doing though? Like,
I think that would take more than a year or whatever.
Yeah,
Probably.
that would take too long.
Yeah, I would think. I don't know, man. I'm not a programmer.
Yeah, it's another thing where, man, we have so little answers on that.
Right.
We just have to wait.
It's all speculation. So.
Damn it, Nintendo, tell us things.
All right, move on to the next question. Is that Tony again? Do you think Nintendo should ditch the Power PC or Power architecture instead and use x86 and ARMs inside their hybrid system?
That's a Shadow Fox Infinite question.
Probably that's a Shadow Fox question. But I think they should do it if it truly helps them as far as third party goes. Like I've said before, I'll always have a quote unquote third party console because I always buy more than one console because that's just how I've always done it.
Well, it's smart. There's a lot of games on systems that aren't Nintendo that are worth playing. There's nothing wrong.
Exactly. So for me, it's like it doesn't matter to me that Nintendo doesn't have third party because it never did because I can always get it somewhere else. And I never understood why people who do have a third party box or a box that has all that complaints. But what I would say is that I don't think it would help me at all, but it will help Nintendo obviously to have more third party.
Yeah,
games.
and that's always been my approach too when I've discussed that idea, and especially in thinking about the NX when it's like, dude, they need to do this, they need to get third party stuff. It's never been about what I want or need, so I totally agree with exactly what you said, T. It's not for me. I'm sold on Nintendo, whatever, and I think most Nintendo fans nowadays probably are too. But if I think about wanting Nintendo and their next system to be the most successful I think it deserves to be, it's kind of one of those, if you want to call it necessary evils, I think it's one of those things. And it would even be great. I mean, think about if you didn't have to buy a second $400 box and you could have every Madden and Grand Theft Auto and all these other things that you would want to play on your Wii U plus all Nintendo's games. Like, it really is that perfect marriage of everything.
Yeah. It's weird to me because I know because like a lot of people what if let's just say hypothetically the next Nintendo console had all the third party support. Will you then get mad at your PlayStation for not having Mario? I mean, are you not going to buy that other console?
No,
because Nintendo look, you're still gonna buy that other console, I
you
think.
Yeah.
still are. That's
So
why I get mad when I hear that.
yeah, it drives me nuts to when people say that stuff. Well, because it seems like they're upset that they have to buy another console for third-party games. But if you're already gonna buy that console, why does it matter to you?
Yeah.
Like I just don't. It doesn't make sense to me. That just doesn't make sense. But
Yeah, it's a little. I mean, I guess that kind of thing is like definitely illogical. It's I don't know. It's like you said. To me, Nintendo's fine the way they are. Like I'd like it if they do better things to be more successful, but they're meeting my needs as a Nintendo fan, and that's really all I care about. And I'll play those other games in other ways, like you said.
all right. So where are we now? Let's see. Nova Reagan, I'm gonna pronounce it. Why do you think there's a disconnect between reviewers and consumers regarding Devil's Third? Reviews rag on it, but people who play it really enjoy it. Multiplayer looks fun. Um, Again, I think we kind of answered that. If you like that style of game, that quirky kind of weird stuff like Suda, like you said, Suda 51 type of stuff,
Hmm.
you're gonna find some quality in that game that maybe a reviewer who doesn't care for that kind of stuff won't.
I
Because
think it's tell me if you guys agree with this. It's kind of like a time-tested thing that applies to anything that gets reviewed. There's almost always a disconnect between reviewers and a product, especially in gaming and in movies too. And I think, like, building on what you were saying too, with like something like Devil's Third, at this point, it's pretty much people who already know what they're gonna get and are excited about what they're gonna get, like you and me, who are playing that game. So that's why they're gonna have positive things to say, and I feel pretty good. Like I'll have positive things to say because I already know what to expect. My expectations are probably right where they need to be. Reviewers, if you're a good reviewer of anything, you have to review from as much of a level of bias as you can possibly get and look at it just as a product quality standpoint. And it's a different assessment you're going to give than if you're just like, I like dumb, shitty, stupid action games, and that's all it needs to be. It's why I like the Transformers movies. Everyone hates on them for good reason, but I don't need anything more than what those movies have given me, so I enjoy them.
Yeah.
And it's about what you need and what you're expecting. And so the person playing Devil's Third who only wants their games to be as good as The Legend of Zelda or Uncharted is going to hate Devil's Third.
Of course.
But the person who plays Devil's Third thinking, I just want a dumb, shitty action game, they might like it. And maybe that's why.
And then you can get to the argument of, well, is it worth it for $60?
Totally.
That's
yeah, I think we've all probably played games and seen movies that we know are maybe not good, but that we enjoy.
Right.
And you can say, I know it's not good, but I still had fun with it for these reasons.
Terminator 2 Judgment Day on Super Nintendo. It's pretty trash, but I had a great time with that game. I still like it. So
yeah, exactly.
all right, cool. Do you have anything you want to add, Jay? I thought you were saying something.
Oh, no, not really. I mean, y'all pretty much capped it.
Okay, cool. Nova Reagan again. Hindsight being 2020 and all, of course. I think Nintendo had a difficult time with E3 this year due to Satoru Iwata battling cancer. Things are happening down the pipeline in terms of surprises, but Nintendo had to prioritize what they showed. Star Fox is incredible. So this is mostly a statement. And I kind of agree with that. I thought about that too. I thought they obviously already knew that he was sick by the time E3 rolled around and the months before and all that stuff. And I'm sure that had some effect on the show because that was something that Iwata was that was his baby, the digital events and the directs and stuff.
Presentations,
The presentations, that was his thing. And like even right now, we haven't had a direct, and we're all clamoring for one. But obviously, him not being there has a lot to do with that too. I think we would have had one by now if he was still around. So
it was kind of an awkward time, I think, in Nintendo as a company to be having free.
Yeah, it's just an awkward time, and unfortunately, the event wasn't good, and those were kind of his last, the things that he saw last was people discontent,
Oh, I've been thinking that, and I didn't want to bring it up because it's such a sad thought.
It's a sad thought. I don't. I didn't want to bring it up either, but
Look at what you
I
did.
mean, it's
I
true.
kind of rolled into it. But yeah, I mean, it's basically, because he did kind of apologize for it himself, right?
Yeah.
Right after it happened, and people
Right after. I mean, the day after, like right when they were doing the treehouse events.
And now in hindsight, to use
That was like his last words to us.
yeah,
It was like, "I'm sorry, we didn't do a good job for you," kind of thing.
that makes me even sadder. I mean,
It hurts. It makes me want to cry, man.
Yeah. So, being that obviously, those are his last.
I do think that you still make a good point, though. The person who asked the question there, because I do think that there are potentially surprises and good things coming with Nintendo pretty soon.
Yeah.
And
Nintendo's all about surprises. That's what Nintendo does.
They really are. Sometimes they mess it up, like
exactly. I was gonna say.
But sometimes they just knock it out of the park.
Yeah.
And so maybe all this crazy random rumors and stuff about the NX turns out to be like, wow, the NX is like better than any of us could have hoped for in all these different ways. So that's, I guess we could see, and I've talked about this a couple times on some videos too, even recently, how as much as it's horrible that Iwata's gone and I would much rather have him back, I do think that obviously we're dealing with a changing regime, and there really could be some positives to that. I am actually pretty hopeful because of that. And I think that maybe some things, I talked about this on the Pikmin thing a couple days ago when Pikmin 4 was announced. I was like, this is not the way Nintendo would typically announce a pretty big title. Yeah. And I think that maybe the loosening of the lips and the philosophies might be kind of something that's coming from the fact that the regime and the way things are being run are changing because of what had happened.
Yeah.
So that could be leading to good things down the road. I think it's a good point.
That's true. Yeah. Very good point there. Anything to add, Jay? Or
no, that sounds about right. I mean, with what happened, and it was kind of messed. It was kind of messed up. That's pretty much what his last words were to everybody. It was kind of jacked up. But I mean, at the same time, I'm like, especially with how the Pikmin thing, like you said, Rob, just came out of nowhere with Miyamoto just saying, "Yeah, we're almost done with it." Like, what?
Yeah. I think I touched on this in my water video. The fact that he was where he was at the time he got that, and he was still concerned enough to issue that apology.
To put a video together.
That's the stuff that touched me because like I said, that's a very Japanese thing. Like I said, my wife's grandmother, as she was passing, she wasn't concerned about herself. She was more worried about the burden even that she was putting on everybody, and that touched me.
Like a different level of like honor and dignity in that culture?
It's a different level, I think.
Which is cool.
Very cool. Yeah. That's why I respected Japanese culture so much. But yeah, that was one of the things that I thought was really big, and that Iwata, even he's even being that sick, he cared enough to address the fans and apologize and stuff. So. But yeah, on to let's get out of the darkness here and get into
the sadness.
Things. Yeah. Swagura Matsuki asks, "Do you think?" I love that name. Do you think the NX will be more powerful than the current gen consoles? Good question. I think it will be, and I think it won't be that much. I think it'll be a GameCube versus Xbox OG, or even a GameCube versus as being more powerful than the PS2.
PS2, yeah.
I think it'll be somewhere around there. It won't be like, oh my gosh, but it'll be more powerful.
Yeah, that's a big kind of topic too, and I've talked about it a few times. It's really hard to tell, and it's all about what Nintendo is deeming important going forward, and like who even knows if they think that's important. And I do think it's important, I know that that's kind of controversial for like a Nintendo fan to say to some people, I guess, because I've had crazy debates. People have had debates, I should say, based on my opinions on some of that stuff on some of my videos, and I think that it's okay to say that visuals and graphic power can be important, and I think it's important for the NX, just specifically the NX, because of how and when and why it's releasing.
Yeah.
So I don't think like I don't think graphics make games or systems better per se, but I think that they're an element that sometimes is important. And again, if I go back to not what I need to be satisfied with the NX, but what I think could be really a smart business decision and hopefully gain a lot of fans back to Nintendo's platform, it's another kind of truth, sad truth if you want to look at it that way, but I think the really good visuals, more impressive than what the current systems can do, would help. And whether or not that's what they will do, I think I kind of agree with you, T. I'm hoping it's as powerful or even just a little bit more so. I think that's the most likely.
I really think it comes down to how much Nintendo wants to make on the console. Like how much profit they want to make per console, or if they're even considering taking a loss early on, which I don't think they'll do because Nintendo ain't really
done that in a
about
while,
that doing the
man.
hardware, right?
Yeah.
Even with the Wii U, they didn't really, because once they sold a game with the console, they were making a profit.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
so even with Wii U, even though they took a loss with just selling the console, once they got you to buy an extra game, they made profit.
It's smart, you know. It kind of makes you wonder, like, at the end of the day, will the Wii U generation go down as still profitable? Like,
well, the Wii U is already profitable.
Yeah, it's already profitable now.
Yeah,
it's been profitable for over a year. I mean, like Nintendo has gone back and forth on what years they're making a profit as a company and not. Mm-hmm. So it's if the entirety of the 4 or 5 years or whatever the Wii U was their primary console, I just think it would be interesting if, with how poor the sales are, and even though yes, 3DS is helping, like the software sales of Nintendo's first-party stuff is still so crazy strong.
Yeah.
It just would be interesting if they managed to have one of the worst-selling consoles in any company's history, but still be profitable.
Well, they did that with GameCube, though. They did that with GameCube. I think the thing is, if you want to separate, like, if you want to just say Wii U only, is that a profitable console at the end of the day? I think yes, but I think not by that much. But if you factor in everything else Nintendo's doing, like you said, with the software sales and Amiibo,
3DS.
And all that stuff, 3DS, then it's definitely profitable. It's definitely a profitable gen.
Yeah, Amiibo's a big factor too.
And to me, that's meritorious. I think that's.
Dude,
that
no one else
get
can
enough.
do that.
Nobody
Sony has a system that's selling better than any system ever, and they're not profitable.
Exactly. To me, that is amazing, an amazing thing. You have a console. You have consoles that sell out the wazoo and have all the third parties, and they can't turn a profit. And here's this company, like, that doesn't matter to me. Obviously, it's the games that matter to me. I just think it's kind of weird as from a business.
It's worthy of note. No, you're definitely right. Yeah.
That they can still turn a profit. That's just
that Nintendo magic, man.
Yeah,
it's a real thing.
It speaks to how good of a business they are. So
even when they're not smart, they're pretty smart.
Yeah. Jay, did you answer that? Did you?
Yeah, I answered it.
Okay, cool. Let's move on to who's that? That's Tony Karan again. Okay. Oh no. We already answered that or asked that one. I'm looking at the wrong thing here.
We're probably getting to some of the last ones.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're getting close. All right. I think this is a statement and then a question. It's Tony Karan again. I'm definitely going to buy Fast Racing Neo. My apologies going off topic, but is Justin Bieber really going to be in Final Fantasy 15?
What?
I have no. This is the first I've heard of that.
That's the first I've heard of that.
I know what that's about. It's so the characters and the setting for Final Fantasy 15, especially I think in the most recent trailer from a couple of months ago or whenever the demo was made available that I never tried, when they showed more of the party, a CG movie of the party you play as, it's pretty modern, and they have kind of the emo haircut, and they're cruising in a convertible with sunglasses, weird stuff. I only saw clips of it, to be fair, so I might be a little bit off on the details. But then there were some jokes about a boy band and Justin Bieber and stuff in Final Fantasy, and if that's cool or not cool.
That's funny.
So I kind of want to see more of it, but it's pretty interesting. You should look it up because I've seen a couple clips, and it's really weird to see that and know that it's Final Fantasy. It's weird.
A boy band driving along in a Cadillac.
Yeah, but also
it looks like a Cadillac. I have the. It looks like a Cadillac.
It looks like an old.
Like a drop top. It looks like a drop top XTS.
Yeah, exactly.
Convertible. Yeah, it's crazy.
Something to see that in a Final Fantasy game. That's just.
Yep. But to answer the question, I think that yes, Justin Bieber will be in Final Fantasy 15.
To answer that question, he better not.
I'm excited for the game too, but it's weird, man. It's weird.
Oh man, that's funny. All right, GBGINU. So again, do you think Nintendo's NX will be the first home console to support YouTube gaming stream? I would
Yes,
be
I do.
surprised if it wasn't.
Yep.
And obviously because of the control that Nintendo would have over those streams being YouTube, I would be surprised if they didn't have that. So,
Yeah, when Nintendo came out with the YouTube creator thing, as much as a lot of people ragged on it, and I was like 50-50 on it, for the most part, I didn't think it was all that awesome. But it was better than nothing, was my approach.
yeah.
I think that they are testing the waters, and I think that they're going to use the NX and this crazy multifunctionality to maybe fix a lot of the issues that other people have seen with how Nintendo does things. I feel like what they're doing is working on a way to perfect the YouTube, the streaming, the ad revenue, the hosting and the channels and all this stuff. I think they're trying to perfect it in a way that's unique to Nintendo and hopefully works for other people as well.
Mm-hmm.
So to build kind of off of what you said, team, yeah, I think that they're going to incorporate something like that, and I feel pretty good that it will be cool, but it may not be.
Yeah.
But I think they're going to have the right idea hopefully going forward, which could be interesting. So I don't know, yeah, Jay, if you have any ideas too, but that's what I think.
Yeah, what do you think, Jay?
It would be smart for them to do that. I mean, that'll probably be a good way to win a lot of people back, because I didn't like the fact that people were like hating on the whole thing without even signing up for the beta, because the whole purpose of a beta is so you can actually give them feedback.
Yeah.
I kept hearing all the feedback, but nobody was signing up for the beta.
That's exactly
That's the purpose.
The beta was the survey.
Yeah, it defeats the purpose. So I think, honestly, it would be a good idea if they did that. And the signs are kind of pointing to them doing that because of the simple fact that they're trying to make strides to do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, I know people got upset with the whole claiming ad revenue, but I'm like, dude, the only reason why ain't nobody else did it because they can't figure out how to.
Yeah.
Because once they figure out a way to do it, a way to charge, believe you me, people gonna be getting charged.
Yeah.
So they ain't the only one. They just the one that just go in and get it on out the way now.
Yeah. I mean, and you know, YouTube likes Nintendo, and Nintendo's like YouTube, and if they could have found a way to get it on DS, they'd have had it on DS.
Yeah.
You know, because they seem to like each other. So I totally think I think it's a smart move for them to implement that. So yeah, I think that would be something that would happen. I'd be surprised if it didn't. And we're down to the last question, and it's from Andre again. If the NX, see, he's talking about NX again. See, these guys do not care about Wii U right now. If the NX gives everyone everything that they are asking for, every feature, every risk is taken to the. I don't know why I'm using his voice. Every risk is taken to get major Western third parties on board. Do you think it will sell very well?
Nope. No.
There you go.
No. It's not.
No. It's not. Third party will help, I think.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think Nintendo, unless Nintendo does something with their brand to get more people back on board with them.
Yeah.
It's not just about third parties. They have to expand their brand again. I think, again, they're trying to do that. They're trying to do that with this mobile stuff, with DNA, because mobile is a great marketing tool. Because everybody's on it. Everybody,
yeah.
You know, if you got to get back into the conscious of the mainstream, and once you do that, you can a lot of the stuff that people talk to smack and all that stuff it'll dissolve. And they're again another thing they're doing is the theme park. That will be a big thing, and the TV stuff. I mean, they're making a lot of good moves, a lot of the right moves, to get that brand back. You know, all they need now is Nintendo cereal, and we're good.
Hey, they've done that before.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was harkening back to.
Yeah. So
But you know,
I know I
Mario
did,
cartoons and all that stuff we had before to get back into the conscious of the average American or average Western consumer,
The
the way they
only
used to be.
the only reason why I say no is because that'd have to change the media perception too.
Yeah,
And
that's what I
right
meant.
now,
Those are the things that would help.
the gaming media can't stand them.
Yeah.
There was no way in the world the gaming media was gonna sit back and let Nintendo win
No,
a second straight console generation. There was no way.
I will say I don't know if it's an underdog thing that the media seems to have turned around on Wii U.
Well, that's because
But
when you
they
sit back and think about it, the, out when put it like this, what Phil Spencer said a couple weeks ago, like Microsoft is not paying that third party stuff anymore because that
did he say that?
yeah,
oh yeah, he said that.
because
No, I
it's
didn't
not viable. It's not a viable.
He wants to make money. He wants Xbox division to make some money.
Yeah.
Smart man.
So he basically everything Iwata was saying that people hated, he started saying.
Mm-hmm.
Like he started talking about putting money back into their first party studios.
Exactly.
More
I did hear that. I remember that now. You're right. You're right.
So that's the thing. I'm like,
Instead of investing in third party, we're gonna invest in our first party.
that's why you don't see any more of those play it first on Xbox.
Right.
And
He's leaving that for Sony. Sony can pay that money
yeah,
if they want that stuff.
Well, it's smart, and I think what's happening too, like building on what you're saying, Jay, is it's kind of a scenario where Nintendo being the first ones out of the gate to try to be smart with that money spending business model, it becomes something that people are critical of, and the Wii U doesn't do that well, so it's like obviously it's not working. But once someone else comes out and tries to make it a brand new thing for them and try to do the same thing but maybe slightly different or better, then it becomes revolutionary and a brilliant idea and all this kind of thing.
yeah,
Right.
and that's the thing. Because I'm like, dude, when I heard that, I'm like, dude, I hope they don't crucify you for it because it's actually smart. Because from a business standpoint, that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
I mean, you make the console, they make the games. It's not the other way around.
You have some of the greatest IPs around with Rare.
Yeah.
So why not give the fans what they want? We've been crying for Rare for over a decade.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons that even myself as a super old school gamer who played those games, the Rare replay thing it's only kind of cool to me because it's like, well, they're great games, but they're old games.
Yeah, they're old.
Show me what
should've
Rare
had
is
you by
doing.
now.
Yeah. And like I know Rare is making that pirate game, which looks okay, but it's not. I don't really want a persistent online world Rare game.
Right.
I want like an old school, like what made Rare great back in the day. They need to make a game like Nintendo makes a game.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be like it may still be. I thought that game, I can't remember the name of it right now.
It's pirate something. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be basically a reimagining of Project Dream.
Yeah, like a platformer.
Which led into Banjo-Kazooie.
Yeah.
But they started off that whole pirate thing.
I think the pirate theme is cool. Again, to me, what killed me is it's all online. It's like everything in the world needs on. No one wants to play alone anymore. It's like
I know what is up with that. Like,
yeah, it's like that's how I want to play my Rare game is kind of alone.
Yeah.
4 words to take care of all of that. Jet Force Gemini 2.
Yes, exactly.
I need that in my veins.
That's what in my face, in my veins. There's so many different things. Obviously, another Banjo game. I mean, you could probably get another pretty good stab at Perfect Dark.
Yeah.
You know, like there's some really great things they could do.
I got a video coming up on Perfect Dark. Should be pretty good.
Oh, sweet.
But I think the evolution of Perfect Dark should have been. Obviously, Perfect Dark Zero was not that at all.
You don't act like that didn't exist.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna have to act like it exists for the purpose of my video. So.
Yeah.
But like Jet Force Gemini, I thought that was the one Rare IP that I thought Microsoft could probably do well.
Yeah, that's ripe for Microsoft to do something with.
Yeah, and they haven't done anything with it. I just don't understand.
Well, maybe Phil will change that. I like Phil. He seems like a smart guy. So
yeah.
He may yet do something.
Yeah, he's not a shirt. He's not a.
He's not.
You know, he's not a suit.
He's not a suit. He's a T-shirt.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
exactly. He came up through the ranks. He's
That's why you need a gamer running your
Yeah.
Yep.
in charge. I mean, look, there was a reason why they outlasted Trenton, Matrick, and the other guy.
Exactly.
The other guy.
I don't even know who the other guy was.
Yeah, I can't even remember that. He was at PlayStation before Trenton got there.
Seamus.
Yeah, I think that was him. Yeah.
Name is
Ooh.
something Blakely or Blackley or something like that.
I don't even know.
So I want to say that was like right when he took over. Like
I remember him because that guy was really hype around the Xbox when it first came out, and he was just like.
Well, for a while there was Peter Moore too, right?
Yeah, Peter Moore was there. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's all the questions, and that's it for Tea Talk. I'm sure we were over 2 hours. Yes, we are.
This is a hell of a podcast.
This is pretty epic here. But
it's good though. I mean,
this
this only happened once every century, so I
right.
You got to get a good use
so
out of it.
sometime in 2017, we'll do another Tea Talk.
Sweet. So
maybe
everyone take a
NX.
week's worth of PTO the next time a Tea Talk happens.
You'll be able to play it on your NX and your Wii U. The next Tea Talk.
It'll be backwards compatible.
Exactly. But I just want to thank my panel here. Thank Terminator Juice, who's obviously had to leave earlier. He was dead tired. He was tired when he first came. I knew.
Smart man. He got out early while he could.
Yeah. And so go ahead and give you your outros. Go ahead, Jay.
All right, this is Jay from the Game Cafe. Had a lot of fun tonight. Don't forget to check out Games at Large tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be having Liger back for a part 2 of that Nintendo talk where he was in Japan. So check that out tomorrow at 5 p.m.
Mm-hmm. And Rob?
Yep, this is Rob from the channel Rule of Two Review. Thanks again for having me. I think I've been on every Tea Talk so far. I might have missed one.
I think so.
Yeah, I love it. I'm so glad that you guys stayed up late to kind of do this with me too. So yeah, and thanks for all the good questions. I'm always working on some kind of video. Nothing super huge right now. I'm actually a couple days out from videos, but regardless, it was awesome to be on here and talk about all the very cool Nintendo and gaming stuff. So thanks again for having me, man.
Awesome, cool. And as always, I'll have their their channels in the description and likely in a in a little annotation on the video itself. So make sure you check these guys out. And thank you again for joining me for this Tea Talk. I'll see you next time. And play Nintendo, fools. Peace out.
Peace.
Later.